Do you find yourself distracted, forgetting things? The right mattress makes all the difference. And the right mattress is the Leesa mattress. The product of more than 30 years of mattress engineering and hundreds of hours of testing, the Leesa mattress is the best mattress at the best value. With 3 foam layers, it provides cooling pressure relief, body contouring, and support. Order now and try it risk-free for 100 nights. It ships free in a convenient box with free returns. Find the right mattress for you at leesa.com/bombcast. Don't miss Leesa's limited time Labor Day sale, where you can get up to $235 off your Leesa mattress when you go to leesa.com/bombcast. That's leesa.com/bombcast.
Hey, it is September 4th, 2018. This is your friendly neighborhood of Giant Bombcast.
Hello.
Swinging in to save the city from... what? What's our mission statement again?
We lost the way years ago.
We lost our way.
We're here to web up all the gaming news
That's
that's
right.
threatening
We're here
the
on
city.
the World Wide Web.
Deliver
That's
it
what I got.
Sinister
to you.
5.
Yeah.
Who are the Sinister Five?
Us.
Oh, wow. Wait, we're the bad guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we're
We're like the
Sinister.
Cobra Kai. We're totally the Cobra Kai.
This is the big
we're the bad guys, but if you think about it, we're also the reason that Spider-Man exists, so we're kind of the good guys.
Okay.
That's at least how I sleep at night.
Yeah. You guys thought hard on this as you swung back from Seattle.
Yep.
You guys-
Yeah.
You guys went to PAX.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Me and Ben and Jan.
Hello, yes.
We're all there.
Fresh off the plane
Fresh
from
is
yesterday.
not the word. No, fresh is not the word I would use.
No?
Um,
Still feeling it?
Yeah. No, I felt fresh there.
Okay.
I was telling Jason, it's like I'm back in the allergy zone. I'm back in the city that
Get in the
never
zone.
doesn't pee on the streets.
Yeah. Plus,
Actually,
it never rains to wash down the streets anymore,
Yeah.
so it's even better. It just kind of bakes.
I would say the urine smell in Seattle was way up over past years.
It was way
Really?
up.
Wow,
I
that's
didn't
impressive.
smell any urine. Am I just like immune to it now?
I don't know.
Kind of scary.
Yeah.
Very possibly.
Yeah.
It was already pea soaked. Up
It,
there.
it was hyper noticeable.
Wow.
In a way that I don't remember it ever being before. But
Okay.
that's Seattle for you. I
Yeah.
guess.
All right.
I
So
don't know.
that's the stage.
Mhm.
People
Right.
write in periodically, not to go on a tangent here, but about San Francisco and the way we talk about it, and just
Yeah.
say, like, man, that place sounds like hell on earth.
It
Yeah,
is.
we don't
And, like,
exaggerate.
Well, yeah, but also that's just kind of cities.
Yeah, I feel like
And-
that
and to-
was
and
or
really-
parts of cities, not even whole cities,
to,
but like
work all the way backwards, that's really just people.
yeah,
Like when you concentrate that many people in that small a space,
yeah, things happen.
sometimes cities are managed better than other times.
We do have a special
Things.
brand of
Oh, I know,
people
that's
out
what I
here,
mean.
though.
This is one of those times
Okay.
when things could be better. But
Yeah, but like when we were in LA for E3, I definitely like these last couple of years around that area of LA. I
Yeah.
feel like again that was another like urine scent is definitely on the rise,
Yeah.
trending upward.
really, the West Coast is just under a giant.
Oh yeah,
We're trying to put out the fires with urine.
A giant
We're
pee-pee
just
cloud.
not-
yeah.
we're
We
just
had
not
to do,
aiming
we
in
had
the
to
right
do
place.
something.
Yeah.
Bad aim
Yeah.
out here
Mhm.
on the west.
Right out the window.
That's right. Yeah,
People
so-
just dumping their chamber pots
Yeah.
right on the street.
Right, just like olden times.
Yep.
It's artisanal that way. It's like it's just one level up from composting.
Mhm.
Like
we
do you
have to
compost?
stop talking about
It's like
pee.
hell yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Right all over the street.
We have to stop talking about poop and pee.
PP.
It's been like 2 minutes.
What is
It's not even the email section, which is where we have a legitimate excuse to start talking
we
about
usually
poop and pee.
segregate the poo poo and pee pee talk to the back third.
Hello
of
to
the
all
show.
our first and last time listeners.
Hello to poo poo and pee pee talk. It's fun times.
my favorite show
Yeah,
on the internet?
get it out.
Better
Oh.
out than in.
Yeah, no.
That's
well,
exit only.
I don't want to shame any. Like people do what they do. Like whatever. Who am I?
So how was
Judge?
PAX?
Fine. I don't know.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving
Yeah.
on.
Actually, like I mean, I don't know not to put the cart before the horse, but you guys came back with knowledge of games that I want to hear about, which is
Yeah.
not. I mean, people always see games at PAX, but
Yeah.
I feel like this time in particular, you guys like went on assignment
Yes.
So
and
proud of you.
played
On
some
some
stuff.
on-brand games.
Played some stuff.
Yeah, there was definitely some stuff.
Checked out the
there
platters that matter.
that I felt that I had to see.
Okay.
Uh,
Which of the three? You know the three.
I have three games.
Oh
that I
wait,
own to
four.
talk
Four. I
about.
totally was forgetting one of them.
I have a bonus one too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I played some indie stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear about all this stuff.
Okay. Should I just name games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Name the games you think coming out of the show
I'm not necessarily saying
from here.
they were good.
Okay.
I just
yeah,
need to
yeah.
You're
know.
curious
I need to
about
know one way or the other about Windjammers 2,
Okay.
Streets of Rage 4,
Yep.
Yep.
Artifact,
Uh-huh.
Spelunky 2,
Okay.
Didn't
and
get to it.
oh no, did you play?
No.
Fuck.
My understanding is that it is a lot like Spelunky,
Yeah.
but with some fluid dynamics.
They put out gameplay footage, so we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Did you
But,
say Artifact?
Yes.
Did you say Devil May Cry?
Oh no,
You should say
I
that.
totally forgot about that.
I wanted to play
That was also
too.
there. Was,
Wait,
Jan, does that cover
No,
your?
the show floor was a mess. Like it was not
Yeah,
worth going
it
to.
was-
Like
it
most
was-
of the stuff I played was in a hotel room.
Oh,
like
no.
it was not. Yeah, it's PAX. Don't go to the show floor at PAX.
I understand, but I mean,
the show floor at PAX does not seem particularly safe.
What is Devil May
Also,
Cry?
with some of the stuff, what there were way more cops around than normal. But like, hey, do not give anyone shit for fucking not necessarily wanting to be around huge crowds of fucking people. With the way things went lately.
I'm not giving you shit about that.
Yeah,
I
no,
just want
know.
to hear about
It's,
Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I walked past at one point. It looked like action game.
Yes.
There you go.
And so none of those covered your bonus game, Jan.
Negative. I was hanging out around the Indie Mega booth a
Okay.
lot.
What's your bonus game?
I played a game called Blood Rot. Hold on.
Blood Rot.
Blood Roots.
Okay.
Gore basher.
We'll add it.
It was
go out 'cause
We can add that to the list.
and blow hair.
It was pretty neat. Aesthetic is kind of like a Samurai Jack, and that sold me immediately.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And kind of like Hotline Miami, just running around, one hit kills everyone, and including yourself. There's like a weird timing mechanic. As soon as an enemy, a circle lights up around them, that's when you have to hit the one button, or else you'll die immediately.
Oh. If you fail to kill somebody properly, you
Yep.
die. Oh, interesting.
or you'll get hit immediately
okay.
by that enemy.
Okay.
And then you can pick up any and everything around you and use that as a weapon. I jumped on a hate cart and was riding that around the level, smashing some fools. And your boy got #1 on the charts.
Nice. Oh.
I got the high score.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Did you win a free code
Did they give you a T-shirt?
for the game?
No, but
No.
I just got to lord over the
Okay.
developer
Nice.
because I got a better score than
Ah.
him.
Oh, well, all
You
right.
said this is my game now.
Yeah. I am the Blood Roots.
All right, now you have to stand in this booth for the next 3 days.
Shit.
Roots. Did they specify platform? PC, I'm sure.
PC for sure, and consoles
Okay.
is what they told me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Which of the games?
Why don't you just talk about Artifact? Because I want to know about Artifact.
Yeah,
fucking let's
sure.
do
I
an
went
Artifact talk.
and played some Artifact, the Dota card game, developed in conjunction with Valve and Richard Garfield of Magic the Gathering and
He's done some stuff.
100 other really good card games. And it definitely felt like that. It definitely felt like this.
what's like Crazy Eights? What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
Crazy Eights. No, he didn't do Go Fish. That was slightly before his time, but he did do Solitaire.
Ooh.
All forms, Pyramids.
Wow.
The other one.
Spider?
I'm unsure about Spider. That might just be a local, regional variation.
On my flight up, the people behind me, there was a guy who was very chatty, and I took a bunch of pictures and posted them to my Twitter. Because they were really hitting it off.
Found his Instagram page.
Yeah. No, there was the woman was playing Free Cell. I gathered by him going, "Hey, what are you doing there? Is that Free Cell? That's my favorite type of solitaire too."
Wait,
And
is
then-
Free Cell a type of solitaire?
Yeah,
I thought it was a totally separate game.
it is a totally separate
Is
game.
Free
But
Cell the one
is,
that's
it's- if you take solitaire to mean a card game you play by yourself.
Oh. Okay.
I
I thought solitaire was a specific set of rules.
No, like Spider Solitaire is,
Well,
you
yeah.
know, Klondike, I think is the technical term for basic ass solitaire, right?
I don't know.
No? Yeah.
I mean,
I only know
Anyway.
Pyramid.
Okay.
That's probably what people did in the Klondike when they were
Yeah.
all by their
Eating
lonesome.
their fucking ice cream bars and playing.
And yeah, so it was just this guy just trying to keep the impression I took away from it was this guy was trying to keep this conversation going by just talking about Free Cell a lot, and she was like, "Yep,
It's a hell of a conversation
I'm
starter.
playing this card game
By
I
myself.
clearly don't want to talk to you."
It's literally a one-person
Yeah.
game, which means I want to be by myself.
Yeah, it was. Boy, I almost ended up accidentally sitting in that row and realized I was in the wrong row and moved. And I was glad that there was no negotiation. I'd be like, "Oh, you just stay there. I'll sit up here."
No, you dodged the
because
bullet.
I dodged one for sure there.
But yeah, so Artifact seems like a card game first and a Dota thing second, which is, I think, the right way to approach it. So, the basic layout of the game, you got 3 lanes.
Oh shit!
I could sit here for an hour and try to explain the game, and I wouldn't be able to do a good job because I still don't fully understand it. It is impenetrable in a way where you have to be ready to sit down, learn, fail a lot, and still not be great at it. I think it's so basically, you have a deck. And we were playing with like pre-assembled decks, 5 randomly generated, or not, the decks weren't randomly generated, but there were 5 decks and you randomly got one of them.
Okay.
The strangest thing right at the bat to me was they were colored, like in Magic. So you have like red, green, blue, black. I think it might just be those 4 in different combinations. Like I was playing a blue-black deck. And it seemed to be, like the different colors seemed to be themed around different play styles, like in Magic. Sure. Where red is like very brawly and it's just a lot of like forward attacks. Like Axe is a red hero, Legion Commander.
Oh, so every hero has a color?
Yes.
Okay.
And then blue was kind of more spell based, like Crystal Maiden and Oracle and heroes like that. And the way it works is each lane has a tower. Each tower has 40 HP. And if you destroy a tower, the Ancient is exposed, which has 80 HP.
Any one
tower,
yeah.
And then the Ancient's exposed in that lane. And you win by taking either 2 towers or an Ancient. So basically 1 tower and an Ancient.
So two levels deep or 2 levels kind of broadly?
Yes.
I see.
So you can't kind of focus everything in one lane. You have to be managing pretty well. So most of the games that I played went where it was just like, I was very clearly winning one lane. My opponent was very clearly winning another lane, and we were very contested over a third lane.
Okay.
And you kind of work your way left to right. It does the Hearthstone mana thing where you start with 3, and then after every turn it goes up to 4, 5, 6, etc.
Automatically get mana points. Okay. Good.
There's no mana cards or something like
Resources.
that. No.
Okay.
Are there any cards besides heroes?
Yes.
Okay.
So heroes aren't even cards. Heroes kind of you choose what lane they are deployed into, and once they're in a lane, you start using the abilities. And these are cards that will let you do stuff like just deal 4 damage to a hero, or maybe it's so within the lane. God, it's hard without a visual, but every hero is kind of lined up, and creeps randomly start spawning on the field too. They attack forward, so they'll attack whatever's in front of them. But there are cards that maybe like let you reposition your heroes, so they'll attack other things. They'll let you like get cleave.
Okay.
So like let's say you find the Battle Fury, that'll give you cleave, so you'll attack all enemy heroes.
So items are cards.
Yes.
So heroes are not cards. You are using cards to activate heroes. Is that
yes? And you can
correct?
only
Okay.
use. So here's kind of my biggest hurdle in the game, and the issue that I had to talk to there was somebody giving me a kind of a walkthrough. Kind of the issue that I had immediately with the game, but it became easier as I started to understand the game more, was you cannot use any. So all the cards are colored. They're like either black or green or whatever color you build your deck around. You cannot use a spell unless you have an active hero in that lane alive of the same color. So there were turns where I just couldn't do anything. And
literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Huh.
And so I was like, I can't win. I get behind on turn 1 and the other guy snowballs over me, and he's like, well, he's like, I'm just gonna say this in the most polite way I can. You're playing wrong, because the deck I was using was built to be around late game, and I was trying to be too aggressive early, taking early fights, and so it's kind of like Dota in that where you kind of know if you want to be hyper aggressive based on your deck versus their deck, or if you want to be slower, because as you kill minions, the creeps that are spawning, you're getting gold, and then after every turn, the item shop opens up, and you can buy cards that are kind of one-time use things, like Blink Dagger, move a hero into another lane. And that's where the flavor of the game really started to come in. So there were a lot of cards that were hero-specific abilities, like Zeus's ult, which just does 2 damage to all enemy heroes, or Echo Slam, which does 1 damage for however many creeps they have around. So that's where it kind of started to feel like a Dota thing, is in the flavor of how the cards worked. You can tell, like, I imagine, Richard Garfield kind of built this framework, and then the Dota people worked with him to kind of fill in what makes sense where to make it a Dota thing rather than just a card thing. We'll have to see. Kind of my biggest worry going in is how the marketplace around the game is going to be handled, how pay to win it's actually going to be, since cards are going to be tradable and sellable on the Steam marketplace. Like, if it's going to be sort of a Magic the Gathering situation where you need to have these cards, this is the meta. Otherwise, you're just kind of bones.
That's scary when you outline it like that.
Especially since the game also comes with a $20 price tag. So, do you know if you can earn some cards? I assume you have to be able to earn cards in game, right? Yeah, I believe you start with like a deck or two. Like they were saying you start enough with a deck just right out the game.
Sure.
And you probably have a little bit of variety, I would hope. And then you earn cards by playing. They haven't gotten into exactly how you earn them, but I assume it'll be similar to a Hearthstone style thing of you play enough, you get packs, you unlock the packs, you get cards.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. By like my third or fourth game, I started to get a handle on it, and they had live demonstrations going, so I watched some of that. It was being casted by Sunsfan and Slacks of Dota fame, and so they were kind of talking about the game, and watching like people who understood the game made it seem a lot more dynamic than what I was doing, because when I was playing, it was kind of like, oh, I've put myself in a corner in a lot of scenarios where I just am playing the only cards I can. But watching other people who kind of knew what they were doing, it seemed like it has room to be a really cool competitive game. We'll just have to see how it works for the average player who wants to kind of get in there and just play some cards,
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try that. Big surprise.
Yeah.
I will try that. How does the turn order work? Like, is it
So
you play your lanes and then they play their lanes, or is it you each alternate a lane? Or
you start in the left lane and work your way to the right, and you go back and forth. So you start with however much mana you have. Let's say it's 5 mana, and you go back and forth playing cards until either both of you pass or you're both out of mana. So it'll be like, I'll play a 2 mana card and I have 3 left, and they're like, I'm gonna play my 5 mana card. And then I'm going to play, it gets back to me, I'm going to play a 3 mana card. But you could also, the guy was telling me, you could try and bait something out where it's like I'm going to play a 1 mana card, and you don't play anything, kind of feinting that you don't really have any actions. And then they keep playing stuff, and then you come back with this like big counter or something. So there is a level of kind of, there's room to kind of have mind games around what you're playing and stuff like that.
Sounds cool.
And then after that, it moves on to the next lane.
Does it look good?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah,
You've got these little
aesthetic flair. Does it like bring in a lot of like Dota assets as far as like animations and?
Yeah, totally. It has all the sound effects for the cards that you want to hear. Like the counter helix has that whoosh, and
Does it have the party horn?
no party horn yet. We'll have to wait till the compendium comes out for that.
Half-Life 2 sounds.
Some
Okay,
when you
good.
can't, like if you're trying to do something like you can't play a card, you get that
Okay.
There's like these 2 little gremlin guys flying around and like being cutesy, and
So like a lot of 3D model stuff going on, not just like flat cards. Or...
just outside of those 2 and the occasional like big hero card, like for Zeus it gets all cinematic and it swoops across the table, like the camera kind of like, and you see the lightning bolts coming down.
All right.
Oh, and lastly, the kind of cool thing is there's a lot of unique heroes in this that aren't in Dota. There's like a Lady Axe.
What?
Yeah, there's like an Elder Titan that looks way different.
I was not expecting new characters. That's
So I'm wondering if they're gonna try and maybe design new characters in this first, and then eventually incorporate them into Dota. We'll have to see how that goes, but yeah, it definitely has a lot of potential. I think I'm definitely interested to check out the full version of the game.
That sounds super promising.
Yeah,
cool.
It's going in beta like relatively soonish, right?
It's in a closed beta right now.
Weren't they like giving codes out to people? To
yeah,
play
everyone who got in line and played it got a code which will unlock the full. It's beta now and then unlock the full game when it's out. I don't know about an open beta.
Okay.
But it's coming out soon. So if a beta's
2 months, ish. Okay.
If an open beta is going to happen, it's going to happen soon.
Okay.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Even though it's Dota.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, Jason, what if you look?
I know.
What if
I'm worried
everybody
about-
gets into Artifact and then everybody here
no.
gets into Dota?
Hey, I'll make my solemn promise here. I will not get into Artifact.
Okay.
Jeff, that's very brave of you, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's
It's
I feel pretty
I know
comfortable.
it takes a
in
lot of
saying
courage to stand
Yeah.
up and say something like that.
That's
It's weird for me because I am right now as close as I have ever been to getting into Hearthstone. But now with
Don't
this
do it.
coming out, like I don't know that I need 2 card
Yeah.
games, so I don't
Might
know.
be right.
Yeah. And then real quick, I just want to give a shout out to an indie game that I saw called World of Horror. It's a 1-bit old school like RPG
That's
kind
not
of.
a lot of bits.
It's
One
like
bit?
well,
Okay.
black and white big
Gotcha.
pixels.
Like a 2600 game
yeah.
or earlier.
or like Game Boyish.
Kind of like Neo Geo Pocket-y almost, but like a little less,
Okay.
a little fewer pixels. But it's one of those like RPGs where it's like go to class. Like so, it's a horror RPG kind of inspired by Junji Ito, who's a Japanese manga horror artist, and so it's very eldritch. It's very like monsters and gods and. It's one of those things where it's like you start losing sanity if you start seeing too many things, and the text starts to warp. And it just had a really, really cool style. Really, very, very simple gameplay. It was like, okay, go into this room, search, find a weapon, whatever you're trying to find out. Something that happened in school. But it had a look and a sound about it that I don't play a lot of scary games or watch scary movies because it just kind of makes me angry. I get mad, like, why would you do this? Just go into the other room or blah, blah, blah. I kind of like get irrationally angry. I don't necessarily get scared. This was haunting to me on a level that a lot of other games get. So definitely keep an eye out for that one. It's coming out early next year.
Cool.
World of Horror.
All right.
Sounds spooky.
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
Okay.
What do we got?
So Ben and I went and played Windjammers 2
Okay.
and Streets of Rage 4
In the same room.
in the same room, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Dotemu they're doing their thing.
Yeah. Going for
they've
it.
Been known for a lot of emulator related work,
Mhm.
a lot of commercial emulation stuff. When we talked about when Windjammers 1 was coming along, it's like they have kind of a checkered history with some of that prior to Windjammers.
Do they?
Yeah. Some of the Neo Geo stuff was not great that they'd done prior to that.
Okay.
It had been rough in spots.
Like just poorly produced, or were there
yeah,
like
bare bones, bad netcode, just
were
not,
they
not,
the
not running well.
were they one of the ones that got into like kind of a quasi scandal over emulator stuff and ROM stuff showing up in commercial releases?
No,
Was that somebody else?
that was Nintendo.
Okay. No. There was. I'm pretty sure there was some Neo Geo stuff at
Okay.
one point.
Well,
that
they
happened with.
did some Neo Geo stuff that was not
Okay.
outstanding. Oh, you know what? Yeah, yes, they had incorporated an open source emulator and not
Yeah,
credited
yeah,
it.
that's what I
I
was
think they
thinking
made good on that at least.
Okay.
But that was the talk back then. I don't. Yeah. So these are two, new games from the ground up, ostensibly, and I think actually you could kind of have a similar conversation about both of them because both games are very early. Like they don't have a lot of. It's hard to tell much about those games in terms of like what they're going to be doing with them beyond like the visual style and what are they doing gameplay wise.
Right.
Because both of them kind of had like one new thing in it, and they were like, we got more to come, but this is, they worked on the foundations first.
This is what's in the PR plan for this show.
No, I don't even think that.
Or maybe it's just not even ready yet.
Yeah, it's more. I think it's more that.
It's like we want to show you that this is real.
Right, exactly. So that's what they weren't letting people take footage. It wasn't on the show floor. It was like, here's Windjammers 2. It plays like Windjammers. That's the
like in a good way.
Yeah.
It feels
Sure,
feel right.
Yeah.
And they talk about having in part of working on Windjammers 1 and part of that initial pitch back then was to then go on to do a Windjammers 2. It was kind of always the plan.
Almost just recreating Windjammers 1 so they could understand how to make a Windjammers 2.
Like staring a lot at the math and pulling apart these mechanics and understanding why the disc moves the way it does and how to recreate that. So they recreated that. And so the build they have has 2 characters in it, and
I've seen some screenshots, and it seems like the gameplay field seems a little constrained.
it's 16:9, so like overall it's a little different, and the different games, the different arenas in the first game were different in size.
Yeah, and
some
different
big,
obstacles
some
and stuff.
small, did obstacle stuff. So
But the stuff I've seen, the proportion is different. It seems like the
Yeah.
characters are bigger relative to the play field or something like that.
a little bit.
I would
But I think
believe
some of that is also maybe mitigated by it being a full 16:9 game that is kind of stretched out a little bit that way too.
So it didn't feel cramped.
No, I wouldn't say
No.
so. They only had one arena in it. So it's Windjammers. But they had 2 characters in the build, and the new thing they have is a meter that builds as you play, and then when the meter is full, you can hit a different button to do kind of an EX style, or it's a variant of your special attack that you would get from like the pop-up charge thing.
Sure.
And so one of those was a girl had a smoke screen, so she would throw the disc and it would hit the other player, and then poof, there'd be a big smoke cloud, so you wouldn't be able to see anything on that half of the court.
You just see the frisbee.
Yeah,
that's all.
If the
you
frisbee
see like
pops
your
up,
silhouette.
Yeah, you don't see much.
Or like I think it was when you move, you see where you ended up. So like you could roll, and then you see where you were. So
Yes,
you had to use
yeah,
that
yeah.
to kind of gauge.
Like
where
you'd
you
still see
needed
the
to go.
icon
Yeah.
would still appear, even though and the other one was like a fast attacking disc that you could control the direction of it with the D-pad. So you kind of stop it, go up, go back. You could score an own goal if you fuck it up, and kind of move it around that way. And other than that, it's Windjammers. Like I think it looks all right.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I was not 100% sold on the art style.
it looks fine in motion, I would
Okay.
say.
Okay.
Or it looks okay in motion. We'll kind of see as they spend more time on it where it goes. And that's kind of that whole build. Like there wasn't really much
we
else
played
to
like
it.
3 games.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, well, that's okay. It feels like Windjammers, which I guess is like that's obviously important.
Yeah. If you don't get that right, then,
yeah, if you don't get that right,
Yeah.
then it's it's Disc Jam, it's any of these other games. So to make it Windjammers, it needs to feel a very specific way. So
Have they talked about any kind of targets they want to hit as far as like netcode? Like,
no,
okay.
no,
They're not really talking about-
It was just like, hey, here's the build.
Yeah.
who were the 2 characters? Were they new characters?
There was one new character, one existing character. So this kind of sets the stage for them to come up with new characters and new moves and new arenas. Like that was the thing that they were kind of talking about. Is like, hey, we want to do more new.
What if they put the kangaroo from Streets of Rage in it?
Maybe they could do that.
I think
if they
some
could do that?
non-human characters would be kind of cool in
His
Windjammers.
special is he takes out like a kid from the pouch.
And the kid stays attached to the disc
Yeah.
and then
Whoa.
kicks you
And
in the
then,
face when
yeah.
you get it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
All
Donnie.
right.
Got Donnie and you on the line.
Yeah, we're gonna make this happen.
Did you do your due diligence?
On which?
Did you ask the question?
The question is more about Streets of Rage.
Oh, I mean about BU.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yes.
brought up. I did
Yes.
definitely
Good.
bring up BU
Yes.
and S. Miller in a final showdown in some kind of story mode, and they went, oh, in a way that actually made me wonder if they had thought about it before, and hopefully they realize just how important that is.
Yes.
But yeah, I expect if they are, I expect if they are doing new characters and all the other stuff, that they would put all of the old characters in there as well.
Or maybe there will be a region toggle in the options
That'd be funny.
that will determine which character you
It
get.
shouldn't even.
That'd be
It should
funny.
just be like you highlight the character and like in Smash with the Echo Fighters, you press
Yeah.
a button and it just hot
Yeah.
swaps between them.
That's actually what I wanted in when their versions of Windjammers 1.
Yeah.
Was something like that would let you kind of choose on the fly. And
It'd be funny if they just had like completely different stats and stuff. too.
Yeah. Well, it's like, Ken and Ryu diverged
Yeah,
eventually.
Exactly. So they need to give BU fire.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I left that like tentative, like going like, okay, we'll see. We'll see. But like as a foundation,
Yeah.
they seem to care about making it feel authentic to the original thing, and
Sounds like-
that makes sense.
Sounds like the groundwork has been laid.
Yeah, and Streets of Rage 4 is the exact same way.
Okay.
It was a very limited demo of like 3 stages, but not full stages, so not like full boss fights, all this other stuff. It was
Was there a boss on each
No.
stage or?
No, there was
no.
one.
There's like one boss in the whole
boss.
thing. And these were like very abbreviated versions of these stages on top of that. So like we fought through like an office and some other stuff like that. I like the way it looks in motion and stuff. Like you see a tiny little bit of it in the trailer.
Yeah.
But up close, like it's got like a comic booky kind of.
Yeah.
It's a little too cute in some ways. Like the big fire breathing dudes have like these
Big
scrunchy.
Ben, apparently.
Yeah, Big Ben have these big scrunchy cute faces. That I don't think it's not the look of the original art. Or it's not the vibe of the original art, but like it's fine. It's just a little different in a way
Yeah,
that
it's
I
just
didn't
like
necessarily
a
expect.
question of tone, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Because
yeah.
the original games were kind of gritty, I would say.
Exactly, and you still
And-
have like, Axel is like he's got a beard now, and so it's like you look at that and you're like, oh, so older, grizzled. I get
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But then the rest of it is like hyper colorful.
That's how it is in the future.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
right. How did it feel punching folks?
Exactly the same.
That's good.
Well, okay. So the one
Did it feel
change,
good? I
the
guess?
one meaningful change there, I would say, is that you can juggle.
Awesome.
So it's got juggles. Meaning, like, you can do stuff like even just multiple air attacks. Like, you can do jumping down an attack, so that knee attack with Axel,
Yep.
you can then combo that into the regular kick and then land and do stuff. Like, the back fist is now back and attack, whereas before I want to say it was like jump and attack.
Okay,
to
that
do
sounds
it.
right. Yeah.
So that's a little different.
So yeah, if you get a guy in the corner, you can realistically combo him
For a little while, but it's got the Mortal Kombat thing of if you do a corner combo too long, it just shoves you out,
Okay.
and so the guy can drop.
But then you can also combo between two players. So
Yeah.
like Jeff and I on the boss actually had some pretty good synergy of just knocking it back and
Nice.
forth, and then eventually some ads would come and break it up. But
Neat.
But other than that, like some of those moves just felt kind of like frame perfect to Streets of Rage 2.
Cool.
And so it feels like the way you want it to feel. And also you're like, okay, yeah, you've duplicated the basics, but what are you actually doing?
Yep.
And so the juggles are there. The super move, the special moves, like the little dragon stuff, the punch combo that Axel does, the stuff that Blaze did. That gives you, it's like a white health thing. So like when you
neat.
use it, it chips off your health, but if you attack afterwards, you earn it back.
Okay.
And if you get hit, then you lose the health that the special would cost you.
Somebody else has done that too. I forget.
Was it
Yeah,
Streets
game.
of Fury from
Maybe.
the same developers?
It may have been.
Yeah, I
It
don't
may have
know.
been.
So yeah, it was a very, and also almost all of the sound effects and music were out of Streets of Rage 2.
Really?
Like literally lifted?
Placeholder, like lifted.
Huh.
Okay.
Yes, 100% lifted.
Weird.
Not just remix.
No, not remixed. They just here's
Kavinsky
this
layer.
music. Here's
Yeah.
all the sound effects, the same sound effects, the same voice samples, all that stuff.
What's their plan for that?
It seems like that they have a plan for that.
Did they say what it is?
No. They were like, hey, we felt that this was such a crazy announcement. Their justification for it was we felt that the announcement of a Streets of Rage 4 was big enough on its own
Thought that was all y'all could handle.
to not get into the nitty
couldn't take
gritty
the
other
full
stuff.
truth.
Because I was basically like, look, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Are
what
they
do you-
aware?
Yeah, it seems like
Do
it.
they understand the desires of the community?
We'll see how it goes, but the read I took on it was something along the lines of, yeah, we're just not talking about it yet. But of course we would get Yuzo Koshiro to do the music. And that's not what they said.
Oh yeah,
That is my inference when I said like, so what are you doing with the music?
Yeah.
Because like, you know,
What do you think we're doing?
announcing a Streets of Rage game without
the fuck do you think?
Yuzo Koshiro's name attached sure seems like a move.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, you know, and then said like, oh well, we figured the game announcement was such a big deal, like we wanted to just do that first, and
That's
and we've got more.
reassuring.
But did not say no.
Well-
but also did not say yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just said, hey, we've got more to say. So
They left the door open.
yeah, they left the door open in a way, but you know that also could just as easily mean like we contacted some great remixers to do remixes, which is like not. And I even said like, hey, the trailer, the music was all wrong. Like it just wasn't. It didn't fit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know. I guess I came away from both of them only knowing slightly more about both games and coming away from it going like, well, they seem like they are making competent facsimiles of the games they are making sequels to here.
But if you've played the framework here and then like that passes, like,
Yeah.
that's super encouraging to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because if they had gotten that stuff wrong, it'd be dead now.
Yeah,
You'd be like,
exactly.
well, whatever. This feels like garbage.
I left that
but-
meeting thinking I can't wait to see those full games instead
Right,
of like
yeah.
I'm worried about these games.
Yeah, I came away from going like, the basics are in place, and as long as they have good ideas about what to do from there, then they'll be fine.
Cool.
Any time frame at all for either of those?
I don't think
I don't
think
think
they've
so.
given. One of them, I don't think they've even said platforms.
Wow.
But I could be wrong.
And then I also had Windjammers on Switch there,
Oh yeah.
which I looked at for a second and looks good. Yeah.
Oh, that could be really cool.
And then the other important game at the show
Shh, Jeff, don't. Shh.
was The Quiet Man.
Whoa. That FMV thing?
Oh, you haven't.
Did you guys
you
just
haven't
see that?
heard.
Yeah. You have not heard the tales of The Quiet Man?
What?
Oh, buckle up!
All anyone could talk about at PAX, and by anyone I mean Patrick Klepek,
And then eventually,
and then eventually
us.
everyone was The Quiet Man.
What about it?
It's there. It was there. It was playable.
Well, sure,
It was
but I mean,
sitting
like,
out.
But what
why?
is it?
What's the deal?
It's fucking ridiculous. Is the deal?
Okay. I mean, that it kind of seemed like it, maybe from that reveal trailer. at E3?
So I found it on Sunday. I was like, okay, am going to go to the show floor.
Was it
to
just
see
out?
The Quiet Man. Yeah, it's just out.
The Square Enix booth, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
Yeah.
behind that
And
game.
and I waited to play it, and the person running the kiosk, as she was like telling me what the game was, she was like, "Okay, this is well, it's like 95% FMV, and then there's a little bit of gameplay in there, and also the main character is deaf, so he's hard of hearing, so it's kind of like a silent movie." And then she handed me headphones, and to which I said, "Okay, I'm going to put these headphones on to hear this silent movie," and it's an amazingly poorly acted FMV game that transitions into a very bad brawler.
So it is
and
the
back
bouncer.
again. I mean, like I would probably take the bouncer over this.
Okay.
In its current form, and I don't know. So the other thing is that this seemed like it was maybe a build of the full game just sitting out.
Whoa. I
Because,
mean, didn't they? I think they said at E3 it was very short, right? Or where did I get that
yeah.
idea?
So
I feel like
my understanding is that maybe you would. So it makes it even harder to kind of get a feel for what this thing was. But my understanding is that you will play through it initially, not being able to hear anyone speak and all this other stuff, and that maybe you could go back later and turn on subtitles on a second run or whatever. But my understanding is that yes, it is a short game that you
made
are meant to
be
play multiple
replayed.
times,
Yeah.
from multiple perspectives and so on and so forth. Or a short story, I guess I should say. That was my understanding of it. So, yeah, man, and some of this is the stuff they showed at E3, where like you're this character and you can't hear, and so you walk up to a hot dog cart and you're getting a hot dog from a guy, and he's talking, but you don't hear anything, and there's no subtitles, and he hands you a bag. You go into an alley, and then some thugs start yelling at you, and you hear them, and I don't know why.
Is it faded? Is it like muted a little bit?
So generally speaking, in combat, it just sounds like an underwater game.
Sure. Okay.
You just hear this murky kind of, but while those guys were yelling their dumb, overacted garbage, there's like one guy going, "Are you stupid? Or are you very stupid?"
Whoa.
And it would just, man.
are they trying to take your hot dog?
No, they didn't order any food. You get the impression that you get a map, like someone tells you, the hot dog vendor sends you into this alley, I think, to do this. And then, it's like human people, FMV, and then there's a pan back to your character, and in that pan, it kind of, I'm going to say seamlessly, but you definitely see it.
They showed that at E3,
Yeah,
I think,
you see it transition into some really terrible looking character models, like the guy, the lead character is pretty wooden and unemotional in the acting scenes.
Oh, good.
But then when you see it on a character model, you're just like, oh, this isn't animated like at all. It's just like this plain faced, like the animation's really jerky and messy. You're punching people in there, and it's a game that's not out yet, but like you're punching people, they're clipping through walls, and you're like fighting like two people at a time. There's one fight later on where you're in kind of tight quarters in a house, and as you're punching people, the video scene you saw before is flashing onto the screen of a kid crying. So it's like video flashing up in the background as you're doing this, or not in the background, but like, over the action. And so it just seems like this very over dramatic thing that is not good in any way. And so it's like just really fascinating because you look at it and go, how did this get greenlit? How is this happening? Why is this happening? Like, and you look at it and you go like, there's got to be something all the way down this rabbit hole that makes all this make sense, right? Because looking at it right now, it's like, it just seems like not a thing that Human Head and Square Enix would bring you.
Wait, this is Human Head?
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. By the way.
Wait.
Human
Human Head has made some good ass video games in the
What else
past.
has Human Head made?
They made Rune, the Viking game, where you could cut off heads
Okay.
and limbs back in like 2000 when that was
Yeah.
incredibly novel.
And it seems like post
They were-
their version of Prey 2 that did not get made.
Yeah, most recently it was the canceled Prey 2 that looked amazing.
I want to say they made some mobile stuff and some other.
They did a Prey 1 that I thought was okay. Some people may disagree.
I don't,
Game's
I don't-
fine.
Prey 1.
I like Prey.
It's not.
I
it's not a
liked
terrible
Prey
game,
at the
but-
time.
Okay. Yeah.
It had some interesting ideas.
That's some interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to think. They've done other stuff that I'm trying to think of, but
So yeah, just coming away from it, people were just like laughing. Like it's like a harsh. It's harsh.
Yeah.
Like everything I'm saying here is pretty fucking harsh.
Yeah.
And pretty judgy of an unreleased game, but
Yeah.
also it's fucking hilarious.
Does it know?
No, I don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
That's the big question.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And maybe when the full story is unfolded and you're able to see it in its entirety, maybe some people will be ashamed of their words and deeds. But as of today, right now, I'm looking at it going, "Man, I got to see this because this is fucking hilarious. What the fuck is this thing? It is some nonsense and does not play well." And
that was generally everybody's take, right?
as far as I could tell, yeah.
Okay.
Granted, it kind of became a bit of a goof, so people were going and looking for it, having heard it described as this hilarious thing. But I definitely walked up to some people who were there playing it, and there was definitely people around those kiosks before Jan showed up. I ran into Jan there. They were just like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, what
Yeah,
is-
before
how
I
did
saw
this-
Jeff playing it, I was watching other people playing it, and everyone's faces just looked very confused and a lot of furrowing of eyebrows of okay,
all right,
all right,
okay. I guess I'm gonna watch another 5 minutes of this, and then
yeah. And it was a lot of watching people watching the game.
Yeah.
And you said it was 90% video.
That's what they said. It was
Yeah.
it's about 95% FMV, and
Yeah.
you'll occasionally punch some people.
Does the Quiet Man communicate at all to anyone else? Does he use sign language or any type of gestures?
My understanding is that there is some American Sign Language in that
Okay.
game somewhere.
All right.
And I don't know. So they were all the other part of this story is that they were being very controlling about when the demo was supposed to end here.
Oh, right.
Because as I said, it seemed like a much more complete build of the game that one Patrick Klepek hadn't played for an hour and 15 minutes.
Huh.
Before they realized oh, your time is up, and booted him off the kiosk. So I think he saw way more than people were supposed to be seeing, because he said he saw stuff that had sign language. He said he saw stuff that had subtitles, and then but he described it as very inconsistent about what you could read, what you couldn't, and I experienced some of that in my time with the game
And
too.
what you heard and did.
Well,
not.
maybe
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe that's by design.
I would hope so, because if not, it's if the thing is, hey, you're playing as a character who does not hear, and then that's inconsistent. In some scenes, you don't hear anything, and then some you do.
I mean,
but
it
you're
could be
seeing lips move every time. It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like, if it was a character turned away from you talking and you couldn't hear that, or if they did a thing where as they turn to you, you can hear it, but as soon as they turn away, you can't. Or
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know what the fucking Quiet Man is.
Hmm.
The Shush-Shush lad. But it was fascinating and comical.
Okay.
Is how I would describe
Okay.
that, I guess. So we'll see what that thing is when it finally ships.
Not what I expected to hear about coming out of PAX.
Yeah.
When is it out?
I don't actually know.
Hmm.
Is it this year?
Could be.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're running on seemingly a PlayStation 4.
Noted.
Yeah,
That's
Crazy.
Yeah.
How many kiosks did they have dedicated?
4.
4.
Yeah,
Okay.
just kind of tucked away in the middle of Tomb Raider.
was it
Oh,
just
yeah.
deserted before word started spreading that
It was not super busy.
Yeah.
It was not too difficult to get on a kiosk,
okay.
I'll say.
Just curious to hear more about this
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
All right, we got to take a quick break and then we'll come back and wrap up the rest of PAX.
It's time to keep your home safe, your loved ones, your belongings, all that sort of stuff. That's why there's SimpliSafe Home Security. SimpliSafe is ready for anything that gets thrown at it. If a storm takes out your power, SimpliSafe is ready. If an intruder cuts your phone line, SimpliSafe is ready. Say they destroy your keypad or your siren, SimpliSafe will still get you the help you need. Maybe it's overkill. Maybe you don't need to be ready for every worst case scenario, but SimpliSafe is ready just in case. SimpliSafe could cost an arm and a leg. It should, but it doesn't. And that's because they're good people. Here's what's fair, what's right. $14.99 a month. That's right. No contracts, no hidden fees. Check it out. Go today to simplisafe.com/bombcast. That's simplisafe.com/bombcast.
All right, Jason.
Hey,
Round it out.
what?
PAX coverage.
PAX coverage?
Talk about Devil May Cry.
I would love to talk about Devil May Cry. I watched a couple of videos from home because I wasn't there.
Oh, God, wait.
Yeah.
You didn't go to PAX.
I did not go to PAX.
Right. You mentioned Devil May Cry
he was there
5.
with
I was
you.
just like, oh, Jason was there playing Devil May Cry 5.
But these guys were at PAX.
That's right.
They didn't play Devil May Cry, so they can't tell me about Devil. Oh, it looks awesome. Hey, Jason. Yeah.
I saw a Monster Hunter food truck.
What?
thought
That's
found it?
basically the same thing.
I found it. It wasn't that hard to find.
Oh, okay.
And then I saw the long line that wrapped around the block, and then I ran away from it.
Did you see the menu at all, or like
No.
they have cutesy named?
But there were a lot of people walking away from the truck very happy.
I'm sure.
So I'm going to assume that the food was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I assume that as well.
I am now reminded of the lengthy video stream that we did together on Friday
Yeah.
when you were not at PAX.
Remember that time?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ow.
That was me.
Very memorable.
That was me there.
We played the pooping game.
Yeah. There was some pooping.
I played that at PAX.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Go on. No, don't go on.
We went to
So
Buffalo
you go
Wild
to
Wings
the-
a lot.
Wait for emails.
Oh, no.
Actually, don't. Let's just not.
I haven't been playing anything else though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
like Darksiders.
Mhm.
Does that count?
Yeah, sure.
1 and 2.
You know,
yeah, those games are.
fun.
Getting ready for
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
That's true.
we got
I hope
those
3 is
remastered-
good. The
Yeah,
stuff
I
that-
hope
the
so,
stuff
too.
they put out, like I look at it and go like, yeah, this looks like it might be okay, but I'm not sold
some of
on it.
them-
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I guess I would agree with you, but I don't think that what they've put out looks bad.
No, same here. But it's not
It looks
like I would not
pretty
call
good.
myself drawn to it in a way that I wish I was.
I'm trying to hold my expectations back because I think I was actively disliked 2 for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
guess
I don't know what it was.
that's
because
It's
I'm
a
playing
very
it,
different game from 1.
Yeah, exactly.
But on
But
its
I'm-
own merits.
I'm playing it now and
yeah.
I'm enjoying it a lot more.
Yeah.
So I
Darksiders 2 is a good game.
Yeah,
It's,
it is.
Yeah.
It's just not what people wanted as a follow-up to
No,
1.
no.
I will say, I guess maybe that's maybe the most positive thing I can say about the 3 footage I've seen is that it looks like the first game.
And so I
That's
think
probably
that might be
great.
part of my worry is
Oh.
that like I felt like 2 was not that 2 is necessarily better or whatever. Like it's not about that. It's more like I don't want a game that is a reaction to people being
Oh, yeah,
disappointed
sure.
by 2,
Where they just make
that-
another
where they just
one.
make 1.
Yeah.
And it's been so long.
Yeah,
That I
sure.
could I could see them being like, oh well, people like Darksiders 1, we're gonna make it like that, which,
Also,
in a world where like even the Legend of Zelda has expanded in a way where
that's-
it's not
yeah,
really doing the same
that's
thing.
exactly what I was going to say.
If that ends up being
If it's just a recreation of the old type of Zelda,
if
Again.
Darksiders 3 does that the way Darksiders 1 did, I guess actually that could still be plenty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that
I
game's a little
have
ways off.
complicated feelings on
Yes.
Darksiders 3, I guess.
That game is a couple months off.
Yep.
But
There's another game that's a couple days off.
that's the segue I was pondering. You beat me to it.
I could see it working in your. I could see it. I could see the gears.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
turning.
had thought of it. I was just trying to decide if it was quality or not. But then
Gotta shake
again,
the cobwebs off.
when did
Are
it
they
ever, when did a lack of quality ever stop
No,
a
that's
segue
yeah.
on this podcast? Spider-Man.
I'm sorry,
Spider-Man.
Marvel's
Marvel.
Spider-Man.
Is that I
It's
saw
under
people
M.
I saw people referring to it like that on Twitter
That
this
is the
morning as the
official
review
title.
embargo broke. Is that
Yeah.
definitely
Yes.
the
It
official
is
title?
listed with an M in your library, not an S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of see through the Marvel logo at this point.
Yeah.
It's so ubiquitous, you just kind of don't notice it.
Well, there's been so many other games.
Yeah,
like,
it's hard. Like what are they gonna Marvel's Iron Man next? Who knows?
yeah. Well, there's been a billion other Spider-Man games,
Right.
so you
Not
got to
for a
come up
while,
with some
though.
kind of definitely not for a while.
I mean, it even starts with the same Marvel like flipping
Yeah.
page animation as the movies. It's,
Do,
yes.
do, 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 do.
You
Paint me a
played-
picture. Weave me a web. Ben, tell me of the Spider-Mans.
You've played a lot more of that game than I have, but I think that game's pretty good.
Yeah, I have just about beat Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh, that one.
For the PlayStation 4. Yeah, I'm having I've had a hell of a time with it. It is an open world action superhero game.
Boy, howdy, is it.
To the max.
Yeah.
It is that with $1 billion behind it, and
It looks
just
very
like,
expensive.
It looks.
Yes.
I had told my girlfriend exactly that
Yeah.
yesterday or the day before when she was watching me play it.
It totally feels like a modern Marvel entertainment property. It feels like it has that polish. It
yeah.
has that like just the way
Just
the
production
music
quality.
swells,
Yeah.
the way that just the
Like,
characters look.
Fucking attention to detail all over it.
Yeah. So it doesn't take place in the cinematic universe. It is kind of its own story.
So this has nothing to do with the what's his name, Tom
Holland.
with that
No.
version of Spider-Man.
It's more in line with the comics.
Right,
There
okay.
are some characters introduced, some modern characters
So
in the story mix.
not to be super reductive, but so you're saying this game is like the Arkham games in that way, in addition to all the other ways it's like the Arkham
Yeah.
games.
Yes.
Because
Totally.
again, like I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but if you played those Arkham games, you know what you're getting into here.
Totally. You,
Like structurally,
I-
it's different.
and
Well,
in terms
yes
of combat
yes and no, though.
some of the city traversal in a way.
But even there, the swinging just replaces the grappling hook and cape stuff. I mean, I'm not saying it works exactly the same, but you're
yeah,
still soaring over a cityscape in a very similar way.
sure.
And it's
But with Spider-Man, I think it's a little like it is a button away, whereas with I feel like the grapple up in the air stuff in Batman is a little more laborious
Sure.
in spots.
I mean,
this is just
don't
like
get me wrong,
hold
the-
the run button and fucking go.
There's way more to
no.
it than that once
No
you start
way.
unlocking the upgrades.
Dude, once you
I mean,
really
yes,
figure
you can
out how
get
to
two
move,
web zips and you can do the point dash and the jump off
You
of
get
it. Like
so
you
much
get
more control.
to it.
Yeah.
But generally, I'm saying to get just the startup on it is faster than Batman.
Oh, sure.
That's all.
Well,
I'm
you can do it anywhere.
yeah.
You don't have to look for grapple. Although, I mean, there are grappling point.
We're getting ahead of
mechanics.
ourselves
Yeah.
here.
The swinging is way better than the Batman traversal. I just want to say for the record.
Yes,
the swinging
I want
is really
to
good.
talk about the swinging forever. I
Yeah.
want to talk about how well, because that's the thing, right? That's everyone. What's the cliche about Spider-Man games? Oh, Spider-Man 2 was the good one. It had good swinging, and that's it. Like that was the good Spider-Man game that had good swing. I didn't play it, but that's what everyone would always say about Spider-Man games when you take it up. So I feel like they heard that loud and clear, and they really fucking went for it in this game. You just move so quickly through the city. I have fast traveled maybe 4 or 5 times total.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
in the
looking
game.
last night. I couldn't actually. I don't actually know how to fast
You,
travel.
you unlock
It's
it
a
after
story
that.
thing.
You don't get it for a while.
But yeah, I like even the only times I would do it. So you it takes place in a pretty good representation of New York.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but it certainly feels very.
I mean,
has
as
the
someone
ring
who
of-
went to New York once,
Yeah.
it feels like New
Yeah.
York to me. And it's I will just zip through the city. I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is an open world game. It's set up where kind of the first main mission of the game is you taking down the Kingpin, who's kind of the classic Spider-Man rival. It's part of this big operation.
Is he the guy for sure? Is he the?
He's
is
one
he
of
the, is
the
he the
dudes.
Joker equivalent in
I
terms of
wouldn't
the,
say he's
the,
the
the
Joker.
primary
No.
nemesis? Or does
There's
Spider-Man
Like
have?
Green Goblin is
Green
more
Goblin.
Yeah, I would
is
say-
like a
I would
direct
say,
Joker.
Like
Yeah.
the Goblin
Or
and the Sinister Six
Doc
are probably
Ock.
the
Okay.
Paste pot Pete.
Well, what I mean, I don't mean in terms of character similarity, just in terms of occupying the
Like,
primary.
he's like
the Penguin.
primary. Yeah, the
He's
primary.
like a Lex Luthor type, not in how important he is to Superman, but he's like the crime boss that enables a lot of shit to happen
Okay.
under him.
I guess Spider-Man doesn't necessarily have a singular nemesis.
No,
Green
not in the same way.
Goblin.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like
even
classically,
then, like,
yeah, but even then, it's
classically.
And so once that happens, kind of the city descends into chaos because all of the other gangs start to try and fill the power vacuum of that. So you run into instances where, let's say, you're traveling to another mission and you'll get something on your police scanner. So you're working really close with Yuri Watanabe, I think her name is. She is a chief of no, she's not the chief of
Detective,
police.
I
She's
think.
a
She's a
detective. And so you're kind of working with the police. So you'll get like on the police scanner, you hear there's a crime over here. So you zip over and you find something in action and you swing down there and you just start going. There's a million things to do in the world. I would say halfway through is when you finally stop unlocking different types of things.
Yeah.
Because they really
There
layer
are-
them on.
Like
There's-
I keep getting distracted by side stuff, and so the city's broken up into districts. Hell's Kitchen and Harlem and Midtown and stuff. And on the map, each district has a list of here's what you've finished in this district.
Yeah. So the first
And
thing
I-
you do is you get to a tower, which kind of
Yeah.
will give you a layout of here's all the objectives in this zone.
Unlock little radio towers. But what I was going to say is I keep getting distracted by doing the side activities, and I feel like I've done more than I should have, like in the sense that I might burn out. But then I look at that list, and I'm like, I haven't even unlocked half of the types of side
Yeah.
See, it
activities.
seems like the way to play this game is to not like go hard on the side stuff at any one time because like especially early on there's not a lot of variety there.
Yeah, yes.
Because I started going like, oh well, I can get all these crime tokens and unlock these web shooter upgrades and this suit and all this other stuff.
And the combat is fun also. Like I found myself doing a lot of the random like ambient crimes just because it's fun to beat people up.
I don't think I like the combat.
Oh, I like it.
I love it. Now that I've gotten,
It seems like as I'm looking at the skill tree, I'm like, this is eventually going to be really great.
Yes.
But where I'm at right now,
yes,
I don't like it very much.
I think it's really good. I think so. The main thing with the combat is your Spidey Senses, which is a perfect video game ass superpower because it's one of those things where you start to get a little white flash over your head when you're going to take damage, and pretty quick off the bat, you unlock the ability to get a kind of a more perfect spider sense, which will flash blue. And if you perform a dodge while it's blue, you kind of like zip out of the way, enter bullet time. I've upgraded to it where if it's somebody who's like shooting at you, I can dodge out. If I do a perfect dodge out of the way, he will automatically web the dude who is shooting at me, and like incapacitate him that way. And
because guns are kind of a problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
like guns are a hassle.
I've
in this game. So,
definitely-
like those moves are worth it.
Yes,
Like
in
I-
a way that it might not initially seem.
When we first got the game in, you pointed this out like the next day, and it definitely is the first thing that jumps out at you that the area of operation for the combat is way bigger than the Batman games.
Right.
yes,
Meaning that you can't necessarily see all the people who are fighting you on screen at all times, and you will start getting shot off screen a lot.
you
Yeah,
need to really focus on the Spidey.
It-
sense
and
more
I
than
think
anything.
that's actually a kind of a negative because it leads to you just staring at the center of the screen the whole time, and it makes combat feel less dynamic because you're just getting attacked from off screen too much.
But I think it
the
became
more time you put into it,
yeah,
that's
it-
less
so
of an
that's
issue.
what I'm saying. It's like later on, it seems like you will, as you get more and more ways to deal with those situations, it will get way more fun.
I think even the basic. I mean, there is a visual cue that you're about to get shot by
Totally.
somebody you can't see. It's
Yeah.
just that you don't train your brain to look for it as the primary threat immediately.
Yeah.
Once you do, you start dodging the gunfire
I
a
think
lot better.
my thing is like it's not that it's hard, it's that it's boring. Because it's just like and Batman would suffer from this occasionally of just like the attack is incoming, you know exactly what button to hit, and
Yeah.
you move on and keep going. I think I made an early choice that I think exacerbated my feelings on it, where I got the swing attack.
Yeah.
So it's like a jumping, you jump, hold down attack, and you do a swing that
Like
will
a
kick
swinging
somebody.
jump kick kind of thing.
And
yeah.
so that even expands the real estate you're using in one fight even more,
Yep.
because then you're swinging and pushing people further away.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
a lot of times
the
you're like
enemies are
battling on
spreading out.
roofs
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
And so you can
so-
like kick a dude off the roof,
Yeah,
which is really
great.
satisfying.
I like the combat more the more I play it because you do
I
get more
think
moves and
that's
you start
the-
comboing
like,
them together.
As I started getting, when I unlocked the perfect counter and that sort of stuff, like I started having a better time with it.
And there's
And looking at like the stuff later on in terms of like, oh yeah, do this, and you'll definitely yank the fucking gun out of this guy's hand.
Like
or
a-
do this and you can hit this guy. Perfect counter does this. Perfect counter earns more focus.
Yeah.
like a sequence of events for me now is like doing like the launcher,
yeah.
jumping up, beating that guy up.
Uh-huh.
Before I land, I go into the swinging jump kick. I
Yep.
hit a guy off of that. As he's flying, I then hit the wall and jump off the wall and hit another guy with that dive attack. Like you can string the special moves together in a really satisfying way.
Yeah, I feel like it's been that, but it's been mostly like launcher, jump up, air combo.
So
and then swing and then zip over to another guy, launcher, air combo.
I mean, I get into the same habits, but
yeah.
you can mix it up a lot more.
and
than
you
that.
have to. Is kind of the point I want to make, where like the game forces you to change up your play style for certain fights. There are certain types of enemies where it's like, this dude will fuck you up if you get in the air at all.
Yeah.
And so like you either have to take him down first and then to get into your routine, or just change up your style.
So one thing I've noticed in that context is the types of enemies you're fighting out in the world dynamically track with what's happening in the story.
Yes.
So like I don't think you've gotten to this point yet, but you start off just fighting like petty criminals.
Yeah.
But then as certain gangs start coming to the fore in the story, their minions start showing up out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have way more like
Yeah, it
imposing
definitely
abilities.
seems like early game variety is
Yeah.
lacking. So
Yeah.
it almost seems like the word of warning is, hey, just play the story for a little bit up front
Yes.
to make the side stuff better,
Yeah.
because the
Or more
early side
varied.
stuff is not varied.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Totally. And the other thing is like, so it's not just about the combat and the upgrade tree. There's also a lot of, so like I find myself comparing this game in a good way and a bad way to God of War a lot, in terms of upgrade and kind of. So one of the things I appreciated most about God of War is you could really get a loadout that let you play how you wanted to play between your like sub-weapon abilities and kind of their like active spells and all that stuff. You could kind of like, if you want to just get in there and mash, you can kind of do that. If you wanted to be more meticulous, you could do that. Spider-Man has a similar thing with how the suits work.
Yeah.
So as you progress through the story, you unlock the ability to get all sorts of different suits. And these are suits from, Spider-Man's like different comics and TV shows. There's some really good Easter eggs in there for like hardcore Spider-Man fans.
Yeah, those suits are like knowing very little about different comic book series. Like the suits are wild looking.
Yeah. And they all have their own abilities. So it'll be like if you find yourself running into guns being a big problem, and then they each have their own like 3 upgrade slots too. So they'll have an active ability that's like, okay, this one, you will take reduced bullet damage for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, great. I'm find myself like getting fucked up by dudes with AKs all the time. I'm going to pop this suit. I really like the thing they do where you can wear any suit you
Yes.
unlock and combine that with the different powers
One
of the suits.
One of the
you've
smartest things they do in that game is when you unlock a suit, you get that power, but then you can equip that power without wearing that suit. So
Yeah,
you don't have to wear some crazy looking like 30s steampunk Spider-Man if you don't want to get the cool ability that went along with
that
that
suit
suit.
looks so stupid.
I think I'm going to wear the noir costume for the rest of the game.
God, it's
I don't
so
know if
stupid.
wait, if I
It's the black. He's got a
Is that the
fucking
one with the
pistol.
goggles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the goggles and the pistol.
Yeah.
And that's the one that
hate it.
unlocks the
I
stealth.
hate it so
The stealth
much.
one.
Oh,
I unlocked
so
it last
weird.
night, and I was like, "This looks ridiculous," and this is my Spider-Man now.
And then the last thing that's really cool about the combat is the gadgets. When you start getting good at remembering to use and unlocking more than just the 2, you kind of start out with a normal web shot, which you can spam on a dude to wrap him up, and then like a high impact web shot that'll knock dudes into walls. And if you knock a dude into a wall, he's basically dead. You get all sorts of different little traps and gadgets and stuff that as you play, and then you can totally spec in that direction too. You can have upgrades that like whenever you get a kill, you refresh a gadget, or whenever you do this, you get more gadget points. There's a focus bar. As you fight, it fills up, and when it's full, you can either cash that into heal or to do a finisher on a guy.
No, I mean the finisher, like not to harp on the Arkham comparisons, but like the finisher even uses basically the same button combo.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
very familiar.
It's yes. They
I feel
But
like
not-
they
but
would
again,
not,
not in a
they
bad
would
way.
not
Yeah.
say we did not use this as an
Yeah.
influence,
but not in a bad way.
No.
Like again, it's been
It is an iteration on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's been
like
years.
if anything, yeah, it's been like 3 years since the last one of those.
Has it only been 3 years? Oh yeah, I
think that's
forget
right.
that last one came out.
yeah.
I think that's
A
right.
lot of people forget that last one came out.
That game was good.
I never played it. And I'm not going to talk about spoilers here at all, but I really like what they do with the story. There's a lot of I'm not like the hugest Spider-Man fan in the world. I've seen all the movies. I watched the cartoon back in the day. I've read some of the comics, so I have like a good baseline knowledge of most of Spider-Man's
So did this-
relationships and enemies.
So did this feel like in line with newer Spider-Man stuff? Because coming to it, having not seen any recent Spider-Man stuff at all, like there was something about like, oh, Peter Parker does not work for the newspaper anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what the fuck is Spider-Man then?
That's
Yeah.
This is
It's like,
my-
wait a minute. He seems to be working for Dr. Octopus. Like,
Yeah.
just- I don't mean to be like,
Yeah,
that,
no,
that is
straight
that
up.
dude.
Yeah,
You're-
Dr. Octavius
you're a
is your
scientist.
mentor.
It's like, and I'm just
And,
looking
like-
at it going like, all right, I guess they rebooted Spider-Man
And
at
like
some point.
he and
Many
Mary
times.
Jane have gotten together and broken up already by the
Yeah.
time the
Yeah.
game starts.
Sure.
Oh,
Harry
alright.
Osborn is the mayor of the city,
Or Norman,
like,
right,
Or
for-
Norman
yeah.
Osborn, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, like
that's fairly in line with the current comic
Oh,
book
the-
series of
Okay.
Peter Parker not being a journalist anymore.
Yeah, Mary Jane's a journalist too.
the I don't know, the New York business magnate turned political. Let's move on.
You know what?
It seemed very on the nose.
This game has some things to say
Yeah.
about topics. Without getting too much into it, there's a lot of stuff in there about like the militarization of police and kind of a lot of serious topics. There are some moments in the game that are. It's mostly a very lighthearted and fun game, but there are some moments that are very heavy and kind of just like almost out of nowhere, but kind of in line with like what you would see in a superhero movie, maybe a little more graphic. It's definitely a game that kind of wants to be funny and light, but also have a message at the same time, which I don't know if it fully sticks the landing on that, but I do appreciate them going for it.
Yeah.
It just feels like a lot of stuff, and that's a good thing, but
Yeah.
also like there's
Story wise,
no, like
Or
just like in terms of and I'm still pretty early on, but there was something about that. There's an early sequence where you go back to the lab, and it shows you hey, here are some mini games you can play.
Yeah.
Play some pipe dreams for XP,
Yep.
and play some, line up these little lines for XP.
Spectrograph.
And it's just like you could, and you look at it and you're just like, did this need to be here?
That's
like this,
fine.
It doesn't.
They incorporate so that stuff in particular. Is
Like I
stuff
would
that
rather
is
have more
later-
stuff out in the world to do.
Well, I mean, the production-
but
you
it
get to-
seems like it gets there.
Yes.
Production overhead of those little puzzles is probably
Yeah,
not equivalent
totally,
to what
yeah,
the
yeah.
side missions are like.
Yeah, it does have a lot of really weird kind of one-off things.
Yeah, like
Probably-
you start doing the little research mini games
Yeah.
where you're like plugging up leaks in the municipal water system,
Yeah.
like checking air quality and stuff.
Yeah,
Weird.
so those I feel like are probably the most fun thing. Is there's kind of these things, research stations that are kind of spread out throughout. You eventually unlock them, and they're more like platforming challenges than anything. They really kind of push the swinging mechanics and stuff like that. Not all of them, but a lot of them are like, okay, there's clouds of toxins, and they start out kind of just in the middle of buildings, but then they're like up there by skyscrapers, and it's like, okay, I have to actually really push the swinging to its limits and get all the way up there and kind of figure out, oh, this is how far I can swing really if I like need to.
Yeah, or
And
there's,
then-
there's like one over the water where there's kind of nothing to swing from,
Yeah.
so you have to keep yourself airborne without the usual sort of hand holding.
And it does a good job of pushing the limits, because later on in the story, you know, there's a lot of missions. I'm really glad about this. There's a lot of missions where it's like you have to you're either like chasing a helicopter
Yeah.
throughout the city, and
It's like you need to be good at that shit.
Yeah.
yeah, totally. I'm really glad that they push that stuff, because it is the most fun thing about the game, really, the mobility, the traversal.
Totally.
I will say kind of my biggest problem with the game is there are these stealth sequences where you don't, where you, it's just so clunky, and there's so many of them where you're playing as characters that aren't Spider-Man doing things for Spider-Man, and you have like a thing you can do and it's different. Like it's like, oh, you get the ability to like knock over a toolbox and make a sound, and the guard will like walk over there.
Right,
It feels
yeah.
like just really clunky, like Metal Gear 1 style. Wait for a guard to walk
Yeah.
back and past this thing.
That
and
sounds kind of tacked on.
it feels tacked on, and then they just kind of ramp them up. And there's a point like not towards the end of the game, but I'd say somewhere in the middle, where it feels like almost every other mission has one of them, and they just like, it's so opposite of what I enjoy from the game. It's just like, you know, I love swinging around, zipping past, like like you said, you can, so there's skill trees for combat. Most of the stuff are combat related in the skill trees, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of skills that are just traversal stuff, where it's like, so you have a web zip, which is kind of a horizontal fast move. You can only do one of them between swings, but you get the ability to do two. There's kind of a Tony Hawk trick system that you
Yeah.
can unlock,
Yeah.
where you hold two buttons and flick the stick around, and you'll get experience as you're swinging around, like doing tricks. And it's totally in line with Spider-Man, like just stunting on people, you know?
Yeah.
Like the thing I like about the traversal is that they add skill to it through the upgrades. Like
Yeah,
I just got the one where, so as you're swinging around, like any edge, basically, like any railing or edge of a building or like a water tower, like any point you could jump to is highlighted with a little reticle, and you can just hit
L2R2.
the two triggers
Yeah.
to zip to it, and then you can launch off of it by hitting jump.
Yeah.
So they add like a mechanic where if you time the jump perfectly as you touch the point, you get like a huge
Yeah.
boost of speed. So like you said, you can really zip around if you are getting your
my
timings
my
down. and stuff
worry
like
as
that.
I got into that stuff was like, oh, is this just going to be like races? Do I have to fly through rings and get gold medals and that
I
sort
think
of stuff?
those
Like,
are, from what I've seen, like that's the
There are a
research
couple of
challenges.
research stations
Yeah.
like that are purely optional.
Yeah.
But also they're not as abstract as like jumping through glowing rings, really. Like
Okay.
they're at least in. Well, maybe there are later.
There is one that
Okay,
is
okay.
almost exactly that.
But most of
Yeah.
them are in context in the world.
yeah, most of them are like, oh, Oscorp is illegally doing this, and it is manifested in a way of like, all the power grid in Times Square is fucked up, so you need to shoot electrical webs at all the advertisements to stop them from overloading and exploding. So it's like in-universe stuff that I feel like they kind of, you know, talk away in a positive way.
I think it's worth mentioning. There's also like kind of there's a decent amount of like gadget-driven detective stuff. Like
yeah.
scanning an environment to see like a layout of pipes in the walls,
Right.
or
So you
find
kind
out
of have
electrical
like a
stuff.
detective, not quite detective vision. It's more of like a pulse. You click in the
Yeah.
right stick, and it does like a pulse, which will show enemy locations, allies, and then also like if you have to do follow these electrical wires to the source.
Yeah,
and-
like there's missions where you're looking for like scuff marks on the floor to figure out where like trap doors and stuff like that might be.
Yeah, and there might be some like light puzzle solving
Yeah,
around
yeah,
it of
that
like
stuff's
A
cool.
dude in the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
Like that sort of
It's
stuff.
it breaks up the other stuff. Like it's got a lot of variety.
Yeah.
Like the game's got a lot going on.
Totally. And yeah, I've put in probably, I'd say, close to 30 hours at this point, and I've just about finished the story. Granted, I've done a lot of side stuff. I would say maybe like 12-ish hours total of mainline story. Really, really enjoy what they do with the story. There's a lot of it is like a Marvel movie in a lot of ways, including like you can kind of see some of the twists coming because it's like, oh, it's going to be an action movie. This thing, you're working for Dr. Octavius.
Sure.
Like you're like, okay, at some point,
At some
this
point,
is
things
probably
go sideways.
going to go
and
sideways.
Something, yeah.
But how they handle that stuff, how they present it, kind of, even just like the framing. There's a lot of really cool shots of just character. Like it's very cinematic in a lot of ways. It feels directed like a movie in a lot of the cutscenes.
Even out of the cutscenes, I think one of the most important things that makes the swinging work is the way the camera
Yes.
feels not quite handheld, but there's a real like
Emotion blur.
kinetic. It's not motion blur. It's camera angle, but it's like there's a real kinetic quality to the camera angles as you're swinging around. Like it's being.
It feels
sorta,
like someone's like kind of following you.
yes. It's almost like a helicopter shot or something. Like it kind of gets cockeyed and like.
And when you start swinging up, it gets like a nice low angle.
Yeah, there's
under
momentum to
you
it.
and-
Like it's just a really like hyperkinetic feel to the movement beyond what you're actually doing.
Yeah, totally. And
It just looks amazing.
Yeah, it really does. And it's not like that kind of Marvel hero movie music starts swelling up when you start swinging. And, you know, the last thing I will say about kind of the open world stuff is if I would found myself so often just like landing in the streets and walking around, and there's just people everywhere. They're talking. They're in their own conversations. If you walk up to them, they'll like talk to you. Brad, you pointed out like if you try and punch them, you just start doing like thumbs up
like if-
or
Oh,
like
wow, that's great.
finger
Yeah,
guns.
If you try to do the dumb open world thing of running up and hitting NPCs, it just makes him act like a cool, friendly guy instead.
There's a camera mechanic that they use in the game quite often where you hit up and then you hold L2 and can take pictures with R2. If you like start to take pictures of people, they'll like pose for you.
Oh, nice.
And it just feels.
What's a selfie game like?
Well, no selfies.
Oh.
God, what a missed opportunity. I didn't think about that.
I think they still have one more patch to roll out, right? I think the full photo mode.
There is a
Yeah, I
photo
did see
mode.
something about a
Yeah.
photo mode.
So
I
that
saw
might just
some.
not be in the game. Just
Okay,
Yeah.
and then stuff like New Game Plus is coming and a harder difficulty. I know. I'd actually be really interested in how New Game Plus works, and they've also already laid out plans for 3 different pieces of DLC, and I feel like if those are substantial enough, like this as a value could be pretty high because I think the main game, I'm having a great time with it. I feel like it's totally got so much polish, so much love in it. It has some bummers, you know, the stealth stuff is really bad. I definitely agree that the first few hours, like looking back, especially now that I see how cool and fluid it gets, those first few hours, I do really recommend just kind of mainlining through the story. Once you kind of upgrade, I feel like the point where it shifts is once you have unlocked most of the side stuff you can do in the open world. When you open your map, you see a list of all the different things you can do, and a lot of them are question marks early on.
Yeah, even when you're looking at like some of the upgrade paths and stuff, it's like, oh, to unlock this suit, you need landmark tokens, and you don't start with the ability to get those. So you have to play for an hour or so before you'll see those. There's a lot of even just stuff like that on the upgrade tree.
And you're doing all sorts of stuff like finding backpacks that you hid in high school of like all around town.
I briefly thought about just going and getting all of those.
You totally
You'll find them so often.
Yeah, I know that it seems it's weird because it doesn't seem like there's 55 of them.
Yeah, I think I've got like 37 of them now.
And like looking at how many pop up every time you like ping a tower and get access to that portion of the map, it just seems like they're everywhere. But also it says there's only 55, and I'm like, it just seems weird in my head.
Yeah, I found myself, and then I was surprised by like how many I actually had once I was like actively looking for them. I was like, oh, I've actually just kind of accidentally found most of them.
Yeah, like you find those and the landmarks and stuff just on your way to doing other things.
Yeah.
And they're like even outside of the main villains and stuff, there's so many nods and like little side quests that have just people that I either like wasn't aware of or just had kind of heard of, like, oh, this guy, like I remember this guy from this other thing. Like I'm surprised to see him in there. So I think they have room to really kind of put everyone that you would want to see in a Spider-Man game in this game by the time all the DLC and stuff comes out.
Yeah, that's cool.
How talkative is he?
Very.
Very. Is he
Very.
constantly?
Jabbering nonstop.
He is
Good.
quipping, and
Good.
then he is commenting on his quips, and then he is like, like people are telling him to bad guys are telling him to shut up.
He is dorky and cheesy in exactly
Great.
the way you would want.
Great.
Yeah,
Like
it reminds me of Homecoming quite a bit.
maybe my favorite thing about the game is just like, the relentless positivity of the main character. I mean, I guess that's part and parcel with the character.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah,
that's what you
totally,
expect. But like, I mean, like he hangs out at his aunt's homeless shelter, and like he's working for Octavius because he wants to change the world. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
He's like,
just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
he's having
you
trouble
know?
paying rent because he is working at a homeless shelter and for this scientist for no money and also as Spider-Man. And the story really gets into that. It's like, it feels like a really good superhero story of that kind of, there's a lot of different struggles of what makes a superhero, but that kind of, I'm doing good, but is it enough? Is it worth it? Kind of those themes are really well explored in the story.
Okay.
Cool.
And then the last thing I'm super happy that the game does is there's a lot of shit. Like we've talked about a lot of different things, the web abilities, the suit abilities, the kind of, even in combat, like there's all the different types of like moves you can do to slide under guys.
Yeah, and just even the number of cases where it said like hit this button and this button to do a thing.
Yeah.
Like early on, that felt weird in terms of just like, oh well, it feels like that they haven't used all the buttons yet. Because you eventually unlock up so much shit that
They utilize
need to make it
every part of the controller.
both triggers to do some of this stuff.
So all that is in the game. So I was playing a lot of it up until PAX. I went to PAX, didn't play any of it. Came back and felt like I had forgotten a lot of it. Felt like, oh God, there's so much to keep track of. I don't remember how to do this, that, and the other. Anytime that you're overwhelmed or like can't beat an enemy, so there's like shielded enemies, and how to beat a shielded enemy is you slide under them and then hit them from the back. I couldn't remember that. And it pops up little tooltips for if you like bang your head against any area in the game for long enough, it just will straight up remind you on how to do that. And it's such a little thing, but for how many things this game has, it is really greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There is a lot going on the controller.
Yes.
And you're moving very fast
Yeah.
through most of the game, so it is very helpful to have that stuff. The only other thing I can think of that I want to point out that I think is super cool is that it's an open world game, but it does not have a rolling day-night cycle.
Yeah.
Instead, they progress time of day along with the story.
Oh.
So, I mean, that just allows them to set like mood and tone in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
Like, as they establish a backdrop for what's going on. It's like, oh, this is happening at night. Like, that means this and this, like that allows them to depict the character going about his daily routine and sleeping. Like, they actually, there's multiple time of day changes in the story without you ever losing control of the character.
Yeah.
And after like 3 of those, they actually address that because the Kingpin takedown, like you said, is the intro mission. And I just hit a point where he's like, oh, I got to go crash. He's like, I can't believe I haven't slept since I took down Kingpin. And like, that was 3 days ago. Like, all right, so you're implying Spider-Man like stays up for days at a time. Like, it's just, it's a cool way to feel like there's a progression of time and things are happening in the world.
Totally. It does. It feels like, it feels like a crazy week for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun, well executed. I think it's like the pinnacle of superhero games right now.
And open world games. Like it is very much one of those like unlock towers to spread icons across the map, do side activities ad nauseum, but it's the most fun I've had with one of those types of games in a super long time.
And I would say even with everything unlocked, sometimes it maybe feels a little too big of a city, but like it was one of those things where, well, we have to create the full New York, and by virtue of that, even though they're probably condensing it to a degree, it still feels maybe a little empty, especially since I went and collected a ton of those backpack tokens and landmark photos and stuff like that.
That was my early impression, even, and I know like the map fills up more, but my early impression was like, I'm not sure that this is going to be like a really great use of the open world, but obviously Spider-Man needs to swing, so you need to do that.
Yes, swinging the way that you navigate the city does prevent you from ever really learning your way around the city.
Right.
True. Yeah.
Like I find myself basically just navigating by floating objective icons because everything kind of looks the same. I mean, you recognize landmarks, but that's not enough to navigate your way around without the objectives.
Just like regular New York.
Yep.
And Spider-Man.
The game seems extremely good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then Destiny came out today.
Yeah,
but,
so the Destiny Forsaken expansion, the big one, came out
Yeah.
right before this podcast started.
Right.
So we haven't played that yet, obviously. I played through all the Warmind stuff over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys play any of that
Yeah.
back when it came
I
out?
played
Did you play through that
I
stuff?
played through all the story
Like
stuff.
Curse of Osiris, the previous DLC, was so mediocre
Yeah.
that, among other reasons, like I never even went back
Mm-hmm.
for Warmind. That thing is way better.
It is,
that's a good
it's better
story.
than Osiris?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a low bar.
Yes.
But I would actually say probably the best, not counting the big $40 expansions, it's probably the best DLC across both games.
Sure. Yeah, again, like not
again,
a super
a low
high
bar.
bar. Like, because I played through Warmind and did not love it. Like,
I mean,
I came out of it
it's
going like,
not,
this was, like, I came at it going like, man, the Warmind stuff is one of the most interesting parts of Destiny
Yes.
lore.
Yes.
And the way they got into it was not the way I wanted them to
They
get
don't.
into
They don't
it.
go. They don't go deep enough with
yeah.
like, okay, you've got this like omniscient machine intelligence with his
Right.
own agenda. Like you could dig a little deeper. But I would
Yeah.
criticize all of Destiny 2 for that. Like
Yeah.
they don't
Yep.
necessarily go
Sure.
deep enough on any of the cool stuff they have
Mhm.
going on. But it's got some fantastic looking level design in it.
Some neat shit in there.
It's like a tight campaign. Kind of goes both ways that they integrate the strikes. Like the new strikes for Warmind are part of that campaign. So like on the one hand, you're doing cool, like exciting, varied missions. On the other hand, then you've seen the strikes before
Sure.
you actually get to the point that you're doing strikes.
Yeah.
But-
I realized that we were talking about the weapon stuff last week, I guess.
Yes, so they rolled out the 2.0 update. So it was weird for me playing through this previous DLC with changes that have now been rolled in ahead of.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there was a bug in the game where there are ways for Forsaken loot to drop this past weekend.
cool.
And I got
Awesome.
a chest piece from from Forsaken, missing most of the chest graphics.
Great.
So I have no torso.
Awesome.
I have like a floating bandolier and a shoulder pad.
Awesome.
And just an invisible
Fuck
torso. Also, the shader on that thing just has a big fat temp icon on
Great.
it.
Pretty
Pretty awesome.
Style, dude.
Well, that's
Pretty
probably
awesome.
that's probably fixed as of a
I'm
couple
sure. Yeah,
hours
they
ago.
rolled out another patch this morning, so I'm sure they fixed all that stuff.
But we were looking at the changes they made to guns and how the loadout slots work, which
Yeah.
I don't think we need to get too deep into it. People, you can look it up yourself, and it'll make more. But I think we were looking at it going like, this doesn't make any sense. And I think the realization was like, oh wait, there's a new expansion coming out, and a bunch of new guns will start dropping that will probably make all this shit make sense. So
that's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Because on its face, when you try to explain it, it's mind bending.
Yeah, it's like why is this better? What is
which slot does this go into and why? Like,
yeah,
wait, so it's like energy weapons can have primary or secondary ammo now, and so can kinetic weapons, and like,
Right.
which one goes in what slot? Like, what the fuck?
And now it's like certain types of weapons are in certain types of slots.
Yeah,
So all your hand cannons will be in slot 1, and
Wait, is that?
I think that's what it is.
But shotguns can be
Fuck,
across
man,
both. I think.
Shit, dude, I don't even know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So, but it seemed like when they rolled it out, it felt like they were telling half the story on weapons, and I'm hoping that now that the weapon drops will be matched to that system.
Yes.
It will make it make sense.
Yes.
Because playing through it, or I didn't play a ton of it in that brief window when they had made this change, but before this new content was out. But I played just enough of it to be really fucking I get okay. Like reading it, I was like, I think I understand the changes to the system, but there was nothing in there that was like, here's why. Here's why this is better for Destiny players. I was just looking at it go like, this seems like a bunch of zero-sum changes. I don't know. I don't get what the player benefit is to any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it became like, well, I never think about or care about PvP in that game. So maybe it's for that. Like it was just, So I'm hoping that now that stuff's out there and we'll start playing it. We'll start playing it.
I am actually, after this weekend, super excited.
I am ready for more Destiny.
So I went back and looked this morning, and it's kind of embarrassing how much of a difference this makes, but the level range on the Taken King was, I believe you started at 34 and max at 40.
Uh-huh.
So you can only raise 6 levels.
Yeah.
This one, you start at 30 and go to 50.
All right.
So, like, I'm automatically so
That
much
number
more
is
excited.
higher, so that's
so much
great.
excited to see that number go up more often.
Woo!
Yeah.
You should check out a Tat Titans 2 update just hit this morning that added you can get up to stage 32,000 now. So
Holy
that's
shit.
exciting.
Destiny's got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Get your shit together, Bungie.
The last thing I'll say is, do you remember on the Mars map for Warmind, there's a little like data fragments collected stat?
Yes.
There's like 45 of them.
Yeah.
I used a guide and ran around getting all those.
Uh-huh.
And that was actually kind of fun because it's just a dumb little scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
B, the Sparrow you get out of it summons instantly.
Oh, man.
On button
What?
press. Like Sparrow perks have been like, who cares? Like the most
Exclusive drops that fix their weird
Right.
UI choices.
Like the most like
the future is wide open.
Sparrow perks typically are just like whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
But that thing, like there's no spin up on holding the button to make it summon. It just pops instantly, and now I will never use another Sparrow.
That's the TSA pre-check.
Yes. The road to get there is long
Like,
and full of obstacles, but once you do,
I'll be halfway to the fucking
Once
bounty.
you pay them their $85 in blood money, you get to go through the short line.
hell yeah.
Y'all are still gonna be standing there, standing on your square button while I'm like halfway to the objective.
Fucking Seattle Airport, god damn it. I got there yesterday, and they've got like multiple checkpoints, multiple areas with metal detectors and multiple areas to go through and all the other stuff. The airport was not super busy. Walk in there and I see, oh, there's no line at all. Great. It's TSA pre-check only. Which is the pay $85.
No, I
get
know, yeah.
interviewed,
But
all
at that
stuff.
particular gate,
At that particular
there was
one,
no.
there was no general boarding there at all. So I was like, okay. And they're like, go that way. I go that way. The next one, also TSA pre-check only. No one there. And they're like, oh, general entry, that's number 3. Walk down to number 3. It's just on fucking fire. There's a trillion fucking people. It's a nightmare. It did not actually take that long to get through. But by comparison, what the fuck?
Sounds like you have something to hide, Jeff. Why don't you just sign up?
And it's when it finally came into focus for me that that's the game all along. Is, hey, you want the airports to be like they used to be? Great. Let us know a bunch of shit about you and give us some money. I'm like, oh, right. That's how this works.
To be fair, it's
Fuck.
like better than it used to be, unless you're talking about like, I don't know, in the 80s.
I'm talking about flying in the 90s and shit.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just like, whatever, man. Just get on the fucking plane.
They're taking
you
your
want to
shoes
come to
off.
the gate? Do it.
I've never
yeah.
flown in a take your shoes off world.
Really?
Sounds nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was, yeah.
put your
I mean,
bag,
I was
Put
like
your-
7. No, I was 10.
put your bag on the X-ray, walk through the metal detector, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
They made me take all the camera stuff out of my camera bag. Every single thing that had a battery, put it on a separate tray, and I had neatly packed everything away so it could just get in and get out. She made me take out the camera, monitors, all the microphones. I don't know why she made me take out the microphones, but she made me step back through the security gate and walk through it again. And I had to leave all my stuff on the other side of security.
Fuck that.
And like I had my Switch, my laptop out. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys.
I make
Don't
them
you-
do it.
Don't you feel safer?
Like they tell me, like that stuff's got to be in separate bins. I'm like, no. You can
Exactly.
take a look. If anything looks crazy,
They
you can unpack it.
they manhandled my Switch last time I flew.
Really?
Like they unpacked my whole little Switch carrying case, pulled the Switch out, and like
Fuck that.
Deleted your saves and put it back in.
They want like individual
to
food
Joy-Cons.
items taken out and put in like special baggies and shit. And it's like my wife takes like 5 minutes. I'm just like, no, screw it. Just put the whole bag in there with all the food in there. I'll get through there. They won't open up the bag because they don't really care about the fruit twists that are in there. But yeah, she stresses out about that stuff.
what if those fruit twists are made out of like nitroglycerin or something?
Yeah,
I don't
they
know.
could be.
Extra tasty.
Real quick before we move on from games, do I have a minute to talk about Donut County?
Sure.
A minute or so. Fucking Donut County
It's great.
is really good.
Soundtrack, incredible.
Soundtrack,
It's on
yeah.
streaming
Yes,
services.
it's a good sound.
Sticker pack, good.
Sticker pack, yeah.
Doesn't have the duck.
does not have the duck,
What?
Only
which is the
complaint
only
about the
sticker
Oh, wait,
I.
what?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Seems like a very missed
do you not do
opportunity,
that?
but
The stickers are great,
yes,
but it doesn't have the one
The
from
one
the
in
game.
the game.
yeah.
That's insane.
I've made a screenshot of it that I can just
Okay.
send on the quick.
how do you get the stickers? Does it come with the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get the
buy-
iPhone
Okay.
game, or you can buy it by itself for a couple bucks.
Oh, do they sell the sticker pack separately?
Yes.
Oh, I might have. Oh well, whatever. It's $5.
Yeah, I bought the game on iPhone too, even
Yeah.
though I beat it on PS4. Not much to say that hasn't been said other than so I was playing it with my partner last week, and we were gonna have a movie night at our place, a couple friends over, and so me and my partner were playing it. We were having a great time, and then one person showed up, and we were like, "Oh, well, we're playing this game," and sure enough, like, just handed them the controller, and we're like, "Here you go, just like move this
Yeah.
hole around," and
Yeah.
we were all just cracking up. Soon, more people started flowing in. We got like 6 people. We were just passing the controller around the room. Everyone, these were people who like don't know shit about video games.
Yeah.
Don't know, like, we had to tell them to use the left stick to move the hole, and
Right.
that was still a little bit too much until they kind of played it for a couple minutes. But we ended up delaying the movie for hours just so we could play a bunch of Donut County. Everyone
Frat.
was having a great time. I will say it's probably the funniest video game I've ever played.
There's some
I think
really
I think the
well-written
writing is really
clips in
tremendous.
this.
Yeah.
It's funny in a way that like it's not. A lot of times when video games are trying to be funny, they're like, I'm gonna make a joke about video games.
Right.
But this just seems like it's genuinely good writing. Like the Trashopedia stuff is tremendous. I read
Yes, that
every
stuff's great.
single entry on
Yeah,
that. Like
it's awesome.
you know, the dialogue, just the scenarios of what ends up happening throughout the game. The like last level I think is really fucking good, just from start to finish.
And you lost the fight, right? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's good
I
too.
highly recommend to people that they lose that last boss fight because there's
Yeah.
a very good cutscene that happens.
Yeah.
And then do you just play it again?
Yeah.
or-
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
But
it's,
yeah,
it's a non-binding thing. Yeah.
so I will say, like personally, would I have enjoyed it? Maybe more if it had been more challenging in some regards. Yes, like I think they could have done more with the physics and stuff like that. But you totally would have lost that experience that I had, which was just handing it to people who had no idea what video games were and they were having a good time. And that's something that's really hard to get nowadays.
Yeah.
Especially on like a PlayStation. You know, there's a lot of indie games on PC that, you know, whoever can play and have fun with. But it was just a really unique experience that I really appreciated, and it's just a really special game. I think that it's totally even the iPhone version I think is totally worth checking out.
It runs totally fine on
Yeah.
an iPhone. Using the touchscreen to move the hole, I think works really well. Like it's, you know, so if you have all those devices, a $5 version of Donut County is great.
Yeah.
$15 Donut County also great,
Yeah.
but 15 is higher than 5.
Yes.
It is, it's a short game.
That's math.
That's math.
To be fair,
I
I think
it is a short game, but
I think it's a fantastic palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Exactly as it is, because like like I said, I've been playing a ton of Spider-Man and Destiny all weekend, which are very mechanically complicated. I'm not saying they're like demandingly hard, but you have to try to
Yes.
play those games. Like Donut County, very casual experience.
Very
Like,
casual. Very
extremely just kick back and just kind of take it
just
in.
like I told my partner, I'm like, you can't die in this game.
Right.
And it was just like, oh good, oh great. Like
Took that
there's no
pressure off
anxiety.
immediately,
Yeah. And yeah. God. Very, very special thing.
Like it's not a game because it's not challenging, but it is kind of an experience, I guess, is what I would say. You know?
Yeah.
Like
It's
just,
an
a thing,
interactivity.
yeah, it's like a thing you just kind of take in and like let it show you what it what it's about.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. I listened to that soundtrack a lot over the weekend, walking
Nice.
around Seattle and
It is
stuff.
it is a very good
It was
soundtrack.
very handy.
the falling into hole end of level
Yep.
song.
Yeah, the weird like fake
is
record
Quack,
scratching type
Quack
stuff.
Anthem, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff-
that's
that
Best
stuff's-
track.
it's great.
Stuff's good. All right, one more break, and then all the other stuff.
Support for today's show comes to you in part from Starbucks Double Shot. Starbucks Double Shot starts with bold Starbucks coffee and is blended with milk for a smooth, creamy, delicious flavor. It's enhanced with ginseng, guarana, and B vitamins. Double Shot's available in 6 delicious flavors. Let's run them down. Mocha, vanilla, hazelnut, white chocolate, coffee, and Mexican mocha. It's an energy coffee drink that not only tastes great, but it gives you the energy to go from point A to point done. That's right. Done. Wrap it up. It's energy to do the things you actually do. That's right. Starbucks Double Shot. Find it in your local convenience store.
All right, Jason had to step out for a bit, but the news
news waits for no man.
Gonna keep newsing regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So let's ooze through the news. I don't know.
Blues
More like
clues through the news.
through the news. Am I
Whoa.
right?
Booze through the...
Well, great, because Dota is our first topic.
Oh,
apparently.
I'm back.
Yeah. So you received a tip
Yeah,
during the break about Artifact that I feel like they've put out a statement on that we should address.
yeah, it's worth correcting. So don't bother sending in corrections for this one because I was under the initial impression that you were able to earn cards, but
Because why wouldn't you?
because why wouldn't you?
Like,
So
how else
Because
would it
you know what's
work?
better than that? Money.
here's exactly how cards and monetization works for Artifact.
And this is straight from Valve.
Yes.
Okay.
This is, I think, from PAX East. This news
Oh.
was
Oh, so this is
came
known.
out. Yeah.
Okay.
Game is $20. It gets you 228 cards, which is enough to get 2 base decks and also 10 booster packs in addition to the 200. So you get
That are
a bunch of-
randomized.
yes.
Okay.
And then after that, that's it.
Okay. So that sounds better than I originally thought you were saying.
Yeah.
Because
So
that sounds like
there's going to be a total of 280 cards. You will get 228 of the 280
so
cards.
you're getting most of the cards.
You're
going to
get most of the
Okay.
cards randomly.
That's okay.
And but then
But then
$2 per booster pack after that, and then I'm sure they're going to start releasing cards
yeah.
after
Of
that.
course. Yeah. How many cards per pack does it say?
Each booster pack contains 12 random cards guaranteeing at least 1 rare.
Do you know if they do duplicates? That's the real question.
I do not
I
know.
would assume they do.
Yeah, I
Because
would
otherwise
also
it would. Cause,
Encourage marketplace stuff.
yeah.
And
Because Dota went through that, and then they got to the point where like, okay, chests are not going to produce dupes until you have everything.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I,
right,
I hope
right.
they maybe would follow the same tack here, but
I also wonder if they
maybe not.
will have like stuff like rarity of like foil cards.
Yeah,
like
maybe you
Hearthstone.
can
I would
like,
assume they
you
would
can
do stuff
craft
like that.
multiple commons into a rare or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like recycle for dust.
Okay. So that sounds like a decent allotment of cards with your purchase price.
Yeah, it
That's-
sounds like you're gonna get enough to be competitive, and then
And you can't expend cards, right? They can never be like burned. Like you,
like one-time use.
Yeah.
No, I don't
like you,
think so.
you have all the cards you get at purchase you have forever.
I
right?
believe that is
Okay.
the case, unless you
Okay.
put them on the marketplace or whatever.
Okay. Well, that's not so bad, I guess. But
Yet, we'll see.
yeah.
yeah. Got to get people in.
Yeah.
Before you turn up the heat.
Yeah.
New card heat.
Gotta get the first one's free. It's not free. It's $20.
Yeah. First one's $20. That's what all the drug dealers say.
All right. On to the regular series of headlines, starting with Battlefield 5 has been delayed
Yeah.
by like a month, roughly.
V has not come to.
No.
Hmm.
V will come to on I believe it's November 20th, but now I can't find it in this story.
November 20th. Yes.
Yes. I wish NV Alt supported bolding and italics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Simple Note. Yeah, so I mean, we're going to take our time to make sure we get it right. That's kind of the gist of the statement.
And it was
which could
specifically
mean a million
It was
things.
specifically, they called out this Tides of War mode.
Yeah.
I believe is the thing they want to get right, not necessarily the rest of the game. In fact, I want to say the sentence is like, you guys love the new movement stuff. This stuff, other stuff's doing great.
Yeah.
It's just this Tides of War thing. We want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, they describe that as a journey across multiple theaters of World War II and designed to keep our community together.
I don't
Okay.
actually know. Yeah, I guess I don't know enough.
Take
So
from that.
the other thing is they put out a video this morning, which I did not watch,
Yeah.
but it will get into the Tides of War stuff a bit. The free post-launch journey, Tides of War. So maybe it's not a post-launch journey anymore. Weird.
Yeah.
Well, wait. They put this out this morning, and they delayed it over the weekend. I don't know.
Also, the open beta starts in a couple days, so
yeah.
people
you
are going to
think-
start getting a closer
I
look
feel
at
like
that game.
I think I can start playing it today.
Okay.
Do you think this leads any credence to that, rumor that it was really underperforming in the pre-sale market? Do you think they were maybe a little shook and
Yeah,
like,
like I was
okay, we need to beef things up? or-
Definitely the first thing I thought of, but then you were saying that those numbers may be
It sounds like those
incomplete.
numbers were,
that the
were maybe
analysts
not.
that called
Yeah.
that stuff out didn't have the whole picture.
Well, it's hard. My understanding, and then which is a loose understanding, was that maybe that analyst was primarily working off of Amazon numbers, which the game had not been necessarily up for pre-order on Amazon.
Right.
And now that Amazon's discontinued or discontinuing a lot of their hey, get money off of pre-orders or 20% off or whatever, and changing it out for that $10 credit thing, way more games are available for pre-order on Amazon now.
Huh.
Almost as if publishers were like, "The fuck, you were doing what?" and prevented some of that stuff from maybe even happening before.
Yeah.
The other thing that they rolled out in this video today is Firestorm. 16 teams of 4 will fight it out to become the last squad standing on the largest battlefield map ever.
Huh.
It is their
That
battlefield,
sounds-
their battle royale mode.
Yeah. Oh, that is the battle royale
Yes.
mode? Okay.
Yeah. And
Hit me with those details again.
16 teams of 4
Huh.
will fight it out to become the last squad standing
64 players.
Sounds like the Dota one a little bit.
on the largest battlefield map ever. DICE has reimagined Battle Royale and is doing it
So they are
the battlefield way.
They are using the phrase.
Yeah.
Battle
Whatever.
Royale.
Smash 4 already did big Battlefield.
Yeah.
And that will definitely not be in this open beta starting this week, right? We can.
I would assume not.
Yeah.
I can't say definitely, but yeah. So there's a video out detailing some of that stuff. I have not seen the video yet, but they did send that out this morning.
Yeah.
So it looks like they are pushing forward with the Battle Royale stuff.
Yeah. And then the Call of Duty Blackout beta starts
The
the
10th?
10th, which is
Yeah.
next week.
And what is
Blackout is
That's
they're
their
doing
Battle Royale.
they're doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way.
So wall running?
Yeah. No.
What does that mean? What is Blackout?
So you like
We don't know. That's the
Okay,
thing.
okay.
They have not said shit about it.
But it starts soon?
They're
Yeah,
making it the
they're-
Call of
they're-
Duty way.
Yeah.
Do you want your Battle Royale
saw-
chopped,
wow.
screwed,
No.
smothered, covered?
I'll just
Chopped,
take it
screwed,
normal.
smothered, and covered. Yeah, absolutely. I saw some negative sentiment around that last Call of Duty beta run about the visual quality of the game.
Huh.
That people were just like comparing it to screenshots of older Call of Duty games, like on PC
Puddles
and
weren't big
stuff like
enough.
that. Yeah, the puddles weren't big enough, and just going like, "Hey, this looks like shit." And in the screenshots, I was looking at, it, I go, maybe you have a point. Some of the stuff looks very blurry and low res in weird ways.
Don't worry, my understanding is that they have graphics throughout all modes of the game this year.
Oh, great. Okay, they've woven graphics into every
Yes.
every facet. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'll be curious. It's hard. It's always hard to know with a beta if they're going with the full visual quality or not, because there's definitely been cases where they've been like, because this is a beta and we want the download sizes to be smaller, we are not shipping our high res assets and weird shit like that. So there've definitely been cases of that, but I don't think they said anything about that about Black Ops 4. So, yeah, we'll see. I feel like that game, my interest in that game, a lot of it lives and dies. Not 100%, but a lot of it is now hinging on how do they do their Battle Royale stuff.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Soon.
Soon.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting. Like that's the most. I mean, nothing against Call of Duty and the people that like it, but that's the most interesting thing they've done in years to me.
Yeah,
Like
and
if you're not
I
like if
think
if you lost the thread on like that core gameplay, if it's
Totally.
if it's not your thing anymore, then
Yeah.
there's not been much there for you.
yeah, they just
Until
shipped
now.
the final DLC for World War II last week.
And I saw they were doing a thing where like party leaders can share the DLC with other players.
Oh, that makes sense.
For not I don't think in perpetuity. I think it was
Okay.
like over a weekend or
Oh,
something like
yeah,
that. It was
yeah.
not a long period of time, but that's straight up like a Dota idea.
Yeah.
I
Sharing
guess
DLC
that
with
explains
people.
why I went to go download that DLC and it said you have it already, or it just the install process took 4 seconds, and I was like,
Oh, yeah,
what?
yeah, 'cause, yeah,
because they can let people in.
Yes.
They added new character classes to that game over time, which was interesting to go back and see. The one they just added is Commando, and remember the tactical insertion flare from older Call of Duty games. It was basically like an item you would take instead of one of your types of grenades that you could put down, and you would guarantee respawn right there.
Oh.
So you,
Thanks, yeah.
and while it was there, it would spark like a flare. So if an enemy came up and saw it, they could disable it.
Okay. Or they could just spawn camp you.
Yeah, or they could spawn camp that spot, I guess. So it's that, but you drop it down a lot faster than the old TI flare used to work. You drop it down, and then you parachute to that location. So you actually start in the air above the map coming down,
Oh.
and you can shoot and throw grenades and shit while you're up there,
Huh.
and you can get shot out of the air, and it's kind of fucking cool.
That is cool.
Do you think that's where they're going with Blackout?
No,
Potentially?
well,
Okay.
maybe I guess like we'll see, but I just it was like it's a super late addition to World War II that I think actually is a fascinating change, especially in objective modes where you're like, we need to hold this position, and fucking people keep dropping out of the sky on
Yeah.
it now, and you kind of have to play it a little differently, and it was since it's new, people are not used to looking up. That's always the thing, right? No one
Right.
looks up in a console shooter,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's part of why I ask if you think they'll do something like that for.
potentially,
their Battle
yeah.
Royale.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, like dropping onto the map is like
Or I was-
like one of the core parts of those styles.
Well,
of
so that's what I was
games,
actually
so-
going to say was, do you think that you can have a Battle Royale without that at this point? Like some other way of deploying people onto a map besides having them fall out of the sky?
Sure,
Or the sky?
you could do an underground thing, and you pop up from the bottom.
Like a zombie.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a cool change. They also added a dogfight mode at one point. I don't know if that was a permanent addition or just like a brief little thing. It's like a silly little deal, but it was like it's straight up team deathmatch, and you're always in planes.
Huh.
And like it was just weird. Like,
do you fly a plane in the campaign of that game?
No.
Or did they like create flying mechanics for this game just for this mode?
Know.
That's weird.
It might have just been one of the power ups. Like maybe it was one of the death streak or the kill streak rewards or something. Was fly a plane around. And maybe they turned it into a mode that way. It doesn't feel so fleshed out that it's like a super fully fledged flight sim. But it was like a cool twist that I was like, oh, this is actually like really neat. Even if it feels a little cobbled together, it was a nice bit of variety. So I guess good on Sledgehammer for like changing that stuff up over time.
Yeah.
But I wish that some of those character classes especially were in the game at launch because the game needed more than it had back then. So it's my Call of Duty update
All right.
for 2018.
Thanks. Looking forward to seeing what you think next year.
Great.
Why can't we have another Warhawk?
Because that last one was cool, but not enough people played it.
But I want a new one.
I'd rather have a new
Okay,
mag.
what if 100 Warhawks
Yes.
fell out of a bigger Warhawk?
This is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Actually,
what if they made a new PlayStation 1 Warhawk?
Okay, yeah,
No,
That's what I'm looking for.
that game was cool too.
Yeah. Those drunken missiles?
Yeah.
Cluster missiles?
Those are badass.
I feel like we're getting back to an era where maybe you could start to explore with stuff like what Warhawk was doing, right? Because if you think about it, Warhawk came out. When did it came out? Like kind of near the height of Call of Duty.
We're talking
Call of fucking Duty.
We're talking PS3
Warhawk. What year did that come out?
2007.
Okay, so
August 2007.
So if you think about it, like that game came out in
Like 2 months before.
2 months before
Call of Duty 4.
Yeah, and it was cool, but like the game changed, and what people wanted out of a multiplayer shooter very quickly changed. It was not the right time for a PS3 only shooter. Also, I feel like in some ways.
Now is the time.
But like, if you think about it, like Call of Duty is, it's worn on. It's done its thing. Fortnite has come along and changed, and PUBG and stuff like that are changing what people are looking for out of shooters. Like maybe it could be the right time. Like Battlefield, it doesn't seem on sure footing right now either.
Saying we should get Dylan Job on the line.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
See what Single Track is up to.
Yeah. Let's get Single Track.
Single Track is like one of the best developer names.
Yeah. And maybe it's time for a new Warhawk.
Maybe.
Or like that, or maybe people would be more accepting of that style of multiplayer shooter now. Is really what I'm saying.
Or there's a lot more you could do with it now.
Yeah. Huh. I doubt it'll happen with Warhawk or with anything else because it just seems like people are going to chase Battle Royale into the ground now instead of trying cool new other stuff. But whatever.
Stuff, yeah.
Siege is huge.
Chase
What about-
Warhawk.
Like it's easy to forget that games like Rainbow Six Siege are fucking still gigantic and popular too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
true.
like in some ways like shooter diversity has gone up.
It's never been a better time to virtually shoot.
Yeah. No. 2008. That's a great time for virtual
You can
shooting.
still do the stuff you could do in 08 now.
Yeah, but I don't feel the same way I felt then.
The world is very different.
Yeah.
We're very different. Okay. Here we go. Warhawk is a video game. You know what else is a video game? Spelunky 2.
Is it?
According to the trailer, I have looping over here on my laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Fuck yeah.
Like I was surprised at the top of the show. It almost seemed like the reaction was a little muted in here, but
Well, I mean, it was only muted because we were bummed that we didn't see it, I guess.
yeah, I guess so.
I want to see more of what's new about it, I guess. Because
I guess-
you look at it and you go like, there's a lot of Spelunky 1 and Spelunky 2,
Like
which of course makes sense.
I guess the fluid dynamics are the big standout new thing.
Yeah.
Is that right? Because
Or one of the things you can look at and you look at the game and go,
definitely the most like eye-catching thing
Right.
is that water and lava and stuff like that seem to flow sort of
Dynamic
realistically.
fluid.
Online co-op.
Does it have that?
Yep.
Okay.
They
Cool.
announced that. And the co-op looks more dynamic. It looks like you can kind of interact with each other a little more.
and putting it online if you can get off the same screen and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool too.
Did
they do it split screen before?
No,
I think
it
it's
was
on
just
the
single
same
screen? Okay.
Yeah.
my biggest revelation was that the guy from the first game's name was Spelunky.
Wait.
Or
'Cause-
Mr. Spelunky.
Yeah,
Mister.
because they say
I'm trying to-
the girl's name is something Spelunky.
Oh wow. Okay. Sure.
And that
What,
kind
like
of
Julie Spelunky?
rocked my world.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to find it now.
Anna.
Anna Spelunky.
Anna Spelunky.
Uh huh. Who else is in this?
Margaret.
Rafi
Tunnel.
D. Sloth.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I don't know. I'm
pretty
content.
Chuck D. Head.
Honestly, I'm content. I'm already sold. I wanted it to look like Spelunky. I guess I started to understand your Streets of Rage opinions from before
Yeah.
on this one of like, I want it to be kind of the same game, but like I'm fine if they introduce a little
it's
bit
that
of
feeling of just like it's a game that you're not sure needs to exist.
Yeah.
You're like happy because it's a follow up to a game you love, and there's potential for it to be even better.
Yes. But
But at the same time, you're like, I don't know if I have great ideas about
Right.
what I would
Like,
do.
it's-
Hopefully
it's-
they do.
it's
You
one of
hope
those-
that they have an idea. You're right.
yeah.
You hope that like one day Derek Yu was like, I know what needs to be in Spelunky 2. And he sat down and started doing it.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's one of those games that you paradoxically want to be more of what you like, but you don't want it to be too much the same, but you don't want them to do too much new because it might mess things up,
Yep.
but you don't want to just get
or
bored with
if
the same
it's,
stuff
if it's
again.
too much
you know what
the
I mean?
same, you'll
Yeah.
probably play a lot of it, but come away from it going like,
That's what I
you
mean.
know,
That's the paradox. Like it's
Right.
just a fucking knife's edge that you have to walk to.
Human beings are fucking nightmares, man. We
Yeah.
don't know. None of us know what we want
That's yep.
at any given time. No person out there in this room, outside this room, anywhere.
I want pizza.
But what kind of pizza? Like
Cheese.
What if
just cheese pizza?
Yeah.
But would you want
Thin
pizza
crusts?
tomorrow?
From where?
If you had
Yes.
pizza, would you have to escalate the pizza, or is the same pizza going to
Oh,
be
you're
enough?
right. I would probably
Seriously.
want to add a topping on.
What are you talking? New York, Chicago, New Haven.
Milwaukee style. Yep.
Yeah, you broke him. You broke him on the. Oh.
Are
You don't
the
know what you want.
are the animal mounts new? They are, right?
Yeah.
So that's a new thing. The fluid stuff.
I really appreciate the trailer starts with like what was obviously a really good run. Like they had a jetpack and a shotgun, and they just get fucking wiped
Yeah.
like right away. And I
Well,
was like,
specifically,
oh,
what
yeah.
happens? What happens is a bomb goes off and it drops a whole thing full of lava right on top of
Yeah.
the character.
Yeah.
It's a great way to introduce the,
I am
the fluid
excited.
stuff. Apparently, you are on the moon.
Great.
Is that
Like,
how this
gravity
starts?
differences could be a cool
I
change.
mean, no, I mean, like literally, like the beginning of this is a spaceship landing on what looks like the moon, and a Spelunky jumping out and descending inside the moon.
Okay, so the jump height is not any different.
I don't know if the whole game is then
Yeah.
implied to be set on the moon.
Because that would be that could be an interesting change. Like, what
Yeah.
if one zone you jump one block higher?
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
The end title card does have the moon on it,
yeah.
so I wonder.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then like the thing I'm most excited about are all the secrets, right?
Yeah.
All the stuff that they're not going to show in any.
Oh, there are
pre-release.
none. Yeah,
Oh.
that's the new change.
This
Is
is
they've
it.
decided zero secrets. What you see is what you
It's
get.
the ultimate.
Well,
secret.
what if I carry the eggplant from the first game into the second?
You are
game?
welcome to do it. If you can find out a way to hack your save of 1 to work on 2, like you could probably make that work. Nothing will happen. I can, as the lead producer, designer of Spelunky 2, I can tell you that we are proud to announce no secrets. Players hate them.
What about other characters?
We didn't want people to read the internet
What
to
about-
figure out what to do. We
Why would
wanted
you want
all
to have to
be
figure
contained
stuff out
No,
when you can
exactly.
just be told right away
Yeah.
and then you just do it?
So no surprises. You can. We took out all the dogs and stuff. We put out that trailer and then we realized the dog was just a mistake. So we took that out.
In fact, we actually should announce that the trailer is the game. When you download Spelunky 2 and launch it, you will watch
You
this
will
90
watch
seconds
that.
worth of footage, and that will be the end of Spelunky
They've already
2.
done the spelunking for you.
Also, we've changed the name of the game to Spelunker.
Oh no!
We got the music from
No!
Spelunker.
That's the worst thing you've said.
We're taking it on back to the because people like our market research says folks like that old school shit. That's what it says here.
But what about Spelunker?
People
Party?
like the thing they liked before,
Yeah.
and they want more of that,
So
but then
we're
they won't
rolling
be
it
happy
back.
with it.
But we're rolling it back to NES Spelunker, not even the
Ugh,
Welcome Home.
I gotta go.
Speaking of the title card at the end of the trailer, I have to pick one bone with them, which is that they fade in the word coming and then 201.
Yeah.
Then they pause on the last digit, and then a 9 fades in.
Fuck
Like,
you.
You don't do the tease if it's the thing everybody already expects.
What if they're saying it comes February
Like
1st?
I fucking gripped the arms of my chair as I was waiting for that last number to say 8,
Mm.
and then they didn't do it.
But I bet that means in their head
Maybe
they're like
maybe they were
like,
they
hey,
expected,
first game took a long time. This could just as easily say 2022.
I guess, but it's just the way that they
Yeah.
Yeah.
they faded it in. I
You're
was
right.
expecting it to be like, hey, it's out next month or something like
I had
that.
the same reaction.
But they do not give you that, which maybe they're laughing hysterically about it.
That's pretty funny.
Derek.
Maybe they knew exactly what they were doing.
Do we have a release date for?
The UFO 50?
Yeah,
I don't believe so.
Not that
I really want that.
Yeah, that looks fantastic.
I was surprised to see that the Blitworks logo is on this trailer.
Tell me about
They're a studio that mostly does ports, or in the past, they did the port of Spelunky to like Vita.
Oh, right, yeah.
And stuff like that. So I think they've only announced PS4 and PC so far. Is that right?
Yes,
I believe. Anyway, I
Yes.
mean, not like it wouldn't, but I just took that to mean that it will very likely be coming to every platform.
It'd be a crime if this did not come to Switch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I have to imagine that's a business-driven announcement for platforms so far.
For Spelunky 2 stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you go to 50games.fun, it says that UFO 50 will hit PC first in late 2018, possibly early 2019, and then move on to other platforms.
Okay.
So that's cool.
We shall see.
Yeah. Next, we're not doing emails. We're doing news.
News is like email.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, sometimes I get news in my emails.
I'd filter those out to spam. It's like, stop sending me news.
What if it's news about spam?
Spam news?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
This
Yeah.
just in. It's like ham, but not. It's
But
kind of
not.
like,
It's special.
It's
That's
more
what
of
it
an
is.
editorial now.
yeah, I guess that's not news.
Yeah.
What do you know about Tim Kitzrow?
He loves to say "boom shakalaka."
Boy, does he.
Conversation.
Uh-huh.
When you meet Tim Kitzrow, odds are he will utter the word "boom shakalaka" to you.
When did you meet Tim Kitzrow?
I have met him a couple of times over the
Okay.
years. Both times.
Like at that decibel level?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Did he ever just give you like a boom shakalaka?
Not me personally. That would be an unwelcome boom shakalaka, I'll say.
In my eyes, there are no unwelcome boom shakalakas.
Yeah,
Not
teach
Tim,
their
if you're
own.
listening.
Not even when the enemy is taking your throne. He's out there on Twitter soliciting suggestions and trying to whip up support for a Dota announcer pack.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that would be really good.
It is like it's an idea that is
Did
so
you-
perfect that it should happen. I don't know that I'm sold on what I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. So did you watch
Yes.
the clip then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
It's-
there are a lot of lines in there about like characters doing stuff.
I only picked out like 2 or 3 that make specific reference to Dota stuff, and it's a lot of generic boom shakalaka, and
Yeah.
he's on fire, and like you need
But
that
I'm saying,
stuff,
like, you know,
but,
Yeah.
are there things? Yeah, of course. Because why would you do it if you're not?
but you need it to be a little more custom to the
Are
game.
those? Because I don't know enough about Dota announcers to know like is that even feasible? What is in that trailer? Is that realistic or
Oh,
is
yeah.
that okay?
You mean in terms of length?
In terms of
Some
no,
of-
not in terms of like, but in terms of like, it seems like it is specific about character doing thing. To
Oh yeah,
other
there
character.
are and I have spoken to multiple people who have written different Dota announcer packs, and like they
I know
say,
it's a ton of lines,
they
but I wasn't
say-
sure how specific it was.
I've heard that you'd be shocked at how many specific custom triggers for different lines there are built into that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I used the Rick and Morty announcer pack for a really long time, and I was finding new lines of dialogue like
Yeah.
throughout. And I mean, like, that's another example of one that one's not really Dota. They don't really get in talk about Dota in the Rick and Morty one, other than just like very generic, like your tower. Blah, blah, blah,
I just
blah."
wouldn't. It's two things I'm not smart enough to understand
Yeah, that's
combined.
for
So
damn sure.
Like I noticed, I think he mentions an Echo Slam at one point.
Yeah, yes.
There was like 1 or 2 others, but again, he's out there like asking people for suggestions for lines. I believe. Yeah, send lines you want to hear.
boom shakalaka.
Something
He's
about dunk,
got you covered.
Axe ulting is the dunk.
Yes,
People call that the dunk.
yes. He talks about the dunk.
Yeah.
That I mean that's a good one. Like that's
Yeah.
what you want
Yeah.
out of this.
You want like a
Nails,
good
coffins.
Dota announcer pack
Yeah.
that then has the flavor of it layered on top.
Yes. Like Artifact, right? You want to make it cohesive from the top and then
Yeah.
stick in all the Dota where you can.
Like you want it to be a good announcer pack that gives you the things you need to know when you're playing Dota, but
Yeah.
then also in this format of specific. You
Yeah,
know.
like I still
I just want him shouting like Pippin. Like I want him to like
Yeah.
just have names
Yeah.
of basketball
sure
players.
that's also good.
instead of the Dota. Like just
It must be the boots.
Yeah,
Just don't make it predictable. That's all.
it would be.
Like-
Is it the boots?
Is it the boots?
to match? Yeah.
Like don't just.
Of course, that's going to be in there.
I guess all I'm saying is as long as they don't lean on the catchphrases and actually put some thought into it.
I think I got bad
I want him
news.
to lean.
Yeah.
I mean, you want it to be a little cheesy. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it
Like,
depends.
As far as information I need from a Dota announcer pack, as long as they tell me my tower is under attack, that's it. That's the only like voice line from an announcer that I need to like actively have happen in my games. Like it's because other stuff is just like,
I feel like by the time I kind of tapered off that game, the announcer packs were getting so elaborate that you couldn't even tell what they were talking about half the time. Or like some of them get a little bit up their own ass about how clever they are, to the point that it almost obscures some of the information they're trying to convey.
Like not an esports quality announcer pack.
Yeah, sure. Like I'm looking at this page. It doesn't seem like there's been that many.
that being said,
Have there?
There's not been a ton. There was Rick and Morty, and then there's a bunch of like hero voice packs.
It's the
like
Bastion.
Bristleback.
Bastion to me is still the gold standard.
Bastion is
because it was written by Dota players. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's got it's true to like the character of that narrator.
they've been working. The longest running one was a Snoop Dogg one. Like they've been in talks, I guess, forever trying to get a Snoop Dogg announcer pack going.
Just rip all his lines out from Call of Duty Ghosts.
There you go.
Like the announcer pack he did there was bad.
I remember the.
Between that and UFC 3.
I think I remember the Stanley Parable one being pretty good.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was what was that tower defense game?
Defense of the Ancients.
I'm looking at a list here. of all
No,
the
it was
announcers.
like one word, Sanctum.
Yeah. Sanctum is an okay game, but
Yeah,
did they do
they did a one.
I don't see
Strange.
that.
They did a one.
I don't see that on here.
Maybe it was only a mega kill.
Maybe they did a.
I do want to say the Gabe Newell mega kill announcer is very good.
Can you enable multiple announcers so you could go like, I want one announcer for this,
So you have-
and then if there's
you have
one that's
two.
just
Yeah,
mega
it's-
kills,
Mega
then
kill
okay.
is a separate slot. Yeah.
Got it.
So
Okay.
there's only a Gabe Newell mega kill. There's not just an
Yeah,
overall
yeah.
Gabe Newell.
The
He's a
Trine,
busy man.
Yeah.
The Trine one is pretty good. If you want,
I never
like
used
if
it,
you
but-
want like a kindly grandfather announcer,
Bristleback is my favorite.
yes, that's a good one.
Hmm.
I hope this happens, even if it's not
Yeah, it'd be cool.
amazing.
I like fun
That
stuff.
seems like something that will
Yeah.
eventually
Probably.
happen.
Probably.
Because why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. When I think about NBA Jam, Boom Shakalaka is not the like go-to phrase. It
He's
became
on
it.
Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah,
fire.
He's
was
on
always-
fire.
That was always
the
me,
thing
for sure.
from that game.
Yeah, totally.
And Boom Shakalaka was like, oh yeah, sometimes they say that when there's a dunk, but they say a lot of things when there's a dunk.
It's
And
just a fun word to say.
It
I think
is,
is the
yeah.
thing.
It's true.
and it became the shorthand for everything about NBA Jam announcing. And in some ways, that rubs me the wrong way. I have a lot of strong feelings about.
Is Kitzrow like a Michael Buffer type where he literally just did the one thing and that's it?
So he went on to do other sports games for Midway,
Okay.
like MLB Slugfest. Some of them were like him playing characters and stuff, like a 2-man booth
He's
with him
slugging
and another
up.
guy. Yeah, man.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
on Slugger.
Yeah, here's
But
his,
he did the NFL Blitz announcing. He did
NHL Hits Pro.
Yeah, Hits Pro. Like all that sort of stuff was all him. And then
Wait, Kitzrow did Hits Pro?
yeah, Kitzrow did Hits Pro and Blitz Pro. And then they brought him back for the EA NFL Blitz game also. Like he did that stuff there.
Yeah, I'm looking at his IMDb page right now.
Yeah.
NBA Jam in 2010 is the last thing he is credited in.
Okay. Yeah. That would make. Oh right. Yeah, because they did NBA Jam also along with Blitz. Yeah. So I think he was in both those then as well. I think he's like a radio guy if I remember right.
okay.
He was like a Chicago radio guy or voiceover guy.
That would make sense.
Maybe that's what it was. He was like a Chicago voiceover guy that lived like above Turmel
Sure.
or something. I think that might be the story there.
That's cool.
But yeah. Iconic voice.
Yeah.
So it belongs in that game 100%
for
as
sure.
an option.
For sure.
But the way it has been distilled down, like the number of times the word Boom Shakalaka is said, even in that trailer, is way too fucking much.
It's a little much, for sure.
I don't know.
EA has made some subsequent announcements in the wake of the tragedy in Florida a little over a week ago. They are making a $1 million contribution to quote support the victims of last Sunday's events. They don't go into a ton of detail about how that will be divvied up exactly, but in addition to that $1 million they are donating, they say they're also working on setting up a fund where other people can contribute. It just says contributions will go to the victims, including the families and all those who were affected. They've also canceled the rest of the series,
Right. Yeah.
the qualifiers and so forth, which I guess you kind of have to at that point. Well, I mean, it is.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
say, hey, we're going to soldier on. We're not going to.
Right.
But especially in light of there being maybe concerns around security
sure.
procedures
Yeah.
and so forth.
I think it's a good time for everyone to kind of pull back, especially if you're running an event like this or a convention, and think about security and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And how you approach it. It's a sad thing to have to think about, but it's I guess it's overdue.
Yeah, their response seems pretty good. They seem to be doing their due diligence to hopefully make this better. Yeah. Lastly, in this quarter's Star Citizen kerfuffle.
I was wondering if we were going to get one.
I don't
a
know.
Q3 kerfuffle.
Quite that bad.
Yeah, it was about time.
Wait.
But-
Speaking of Q3 kerfuffles, I've got better news
Okay.
that just came in while we were at break.
What?
Oh, fuck. Hella good segue.
Thank you. Q3 DM17 is coming to Quick
Oh,
Champions.
I saw that this morning. I don't know why I didn't put this in here.
Yeah.
Put that in here. Well, you know why I didn't is because I need to see it for myself.
Yeah,
First.
but that's still
It's
potentially exciting news. The Longest Yard being like pretty much the map from Quake 3.
yeah. I like.
Look, there are plenty of great maps in
Well,
Quake 3.
My favorites turned out to be the two in the beta or in the Q3 test.
Yeah,
DM7 and DM17
Yeah,
are my favorite
yes.
maps in that game.
So DM17 is
like-
going to come to Quake Champions.
Yes, it's fantastic. They're putting it in there. Also,
It's still Quake Champions.
well, that's maybe a little harsh. It's not a bad game.
Well, I mean, at this point,
I say that as someone who plays a little Quake Champions
right.
maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah.
I feel like at this
Wow,
point you either
that's more than me.
know if you like it or not. I
Yeah,
feel like
well,
most people's minds are going to be made up on that.
I think it's an okay. I think it's an okay game. I don't really like the way they're monetizing around the edges and stuff. The cosmetics and stuff. I think a lot of them are either bad or they just seem too expensive for what you're getting. Like it just doesn't feel
Especially weird for like a first-person thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
right.
every time I play it, I'm surprised at how many loot boxes I get. But maybe that's because I don't play often and I'm getting bonuses
you're
for being away.
cooking through the lower levels of
Yeah.
the progression, so you get one or two, whatever, whenever you level up.
Yeah.
But then also, there's like daily login stuff that you can get them to. I played enough Quake Champions, just enough Quake Champions to where I finally just said I should install Xenotic, and went back and installed Xenotic.
What if we just play Quake 3?
Or that's always an option.
Or Quake 1?
I mean, okay.
All right. Talk later.
Maybe let's start doing a series of fucking 1v1 DMs. We got
Okay.
2 PCs in that studio.
Sure,
Let's
okay.
get Quake 1 on them.
All right.
Hell yeah.
And just see what happens.
I'm game.
I'm going to watch some old Quake 1 or Quake esports commentary and brush up on my
Okay.
skills.
There you go.
I started hatching a plan earlier this year that got derailed, but I am meaning to set up my own Quake servers at some point.
Yeah.
That will hopefully just run.
That's a good idea.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Part of one of the stumbling blocks is not having a good domain yet,
Oh, well.
on top of
I'll put,
numerous others, but
I would appreciate it if you made it a cuss-free server.
okay.
I would appreciate it if you had a separate mod for like a separate chat channel that was a cuss only.
Okay. All right. Can only speak in swears.
Yeah.
I mean, putting that map in is an amazing fan service move. It also, like, maybe I'm being...
It's a game that needs more maps anyway, so this
Well,
isn't
yes,
even
okay.
necessarily like a pure fan service thing. It's like, that's a good map.
It
This
is.
game plays
Yes.
well. That'll be a good addition.
Sure. Okay.
They also announced some more arcade mode. They sound like UT mutators.
I mean,
Just like infinite rockets, I guess.
I somewhat cynically looked at it and said, like, okay, yeah, that is definitely something you would do if you're trying to get more
Totally.
eyeballs on this game.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I mean, it's like good content.
Yeah. Yes.
In theory. I mean,
Yes.
maybe they fuck up the map when they put it in. I don't know. But yeah.
All right. On to Star Citizen. Like, the long and the short of it is the this year's Citizen Con is coming up shortly.
Citizen Con happens every day around Star Citizen.
Yeah. It's oh boy.
Up top.
That's next month. They attracted a whole lot of negative attention by announcing that they were going to charge for live access to the event, like online streaming access.
Yeah.
It was
What?
gonna be
Blizzard does that for.
well, yes. They've
Yo,
always,
Blizzard has some games out.
Yeah.
they also Blizzard.
Fair enough.
Blizzard has, I think always done that. Maybe the first BlizzCon was free, or maybe, I feel like they've charged since the beginning. Like there's an expectation built in with BlizzCon that you're gonna.
Well, I think
pay to
the
watch
other
that
thing
stuff.
is that a lot of people playing Star Citizen have already paid for a lot of things a lot of times over.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah, in reading about this, so they backtracked very quickly. There was so much backlash.
I think
from-
like Chris Roberts actually
Yes.
come out himself.
Chris Roberts came out and said, "Hey, this was my idea. If you're going to get mad at me."
Yeah.
He also
The internet
said,
okay.
Yeah.
he also said
Already were.
in their defense, he said that the scale of this year's event is way bigger than previous years.
Yeah. So
and
if they're
they needed
spending
money,
a lot more money.
yeah, they
then-
needed money to fund all the extra stuff they're doing. Also, in the course of reading about this, I noticed that their current crowdfunding number is $193 million, which
Are like
I feel like last time I looked in, it was
are
like around
oligarchs
100.
just laundering fucking money through this thing at this point? Like, is there a way out? Is there a money out function here
don't
that
know.
someone is?
I don't know. Can you transfer ownership of your non-existent ships?
I don't even know.
What happens at a Citizen Con?
Panels and
Panels and stuff, and they stream all the panels.
live
like,
stuff.
Walk around and say, I can't wait for this game.
Yeah.
This game sounds all right. Space, man, right?
I love
yeah.
space.
I mean-
you guys like Wing Commander?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah,
I
me
played
too,
that.
man. Yeah, these are good games.
Wing Commander's pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you see the Rebel Galaxy guys announce the new Rebel Galaxy?
Yeah, a Rebel
they?
Galaxy Outlaw.
Yes.
Oh my god, I fired that up just last night.
Really?
Oh my god.
I
excited.
almost put it in news, but the trailer doesn't show any game. It's all like hand animated, like just a sort of teaser thing. So I don't know exactly what the actual game is, but the vibe of it felt very 90s PC space sim Wing Commander type stuff.
Well, weren't they doing the thing that was the?
They did that the
X-
Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made like a modernized X-wing on spec, basically. That they pitched to EA.
Maybe I'm just like conflating shit together, but my understanding is that this game is that.
That's exactly what I
Yeah.
thought / hoped it was, but I couldn't quite find confirmation of
Yeah.
that. But if it is that, because that footage looked fucking incredible,
my understanding was that it was to be that minus the Star Wars
and you could do so
plus
much
the Rebel Galaxy.
like with PCs,
which is a
what
better
they are.
vibe anyway.
Yeah, totally. Like, well, I mean, I would take a Star
Yeah,
Wars game
whatever.
too, but like with
Fair
PCs being what they are these days, the type of game in that vein you could make, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Where's Larry Holland? What's he doing?
It's a great question. Oh,
Why is nobody making one of these games? I feel like that's the last genre. Like Metroidvanias have come back. Like every genre that you loved
Right.
that nobody made for 20 years is like there is an abundance now.
well,
What's-
like
but
no,
where
'cause-
are
'cause,
the
Elite? Is
Kinda.
that
Well,
blown
kind
out
of.
like blown out at a larger scale?
Sure.
But like that idea of just
I'm
like, hey,
looking
some of
for-
these are combat missions, some of them are defense missions.
it's a little more that game is a little more like large scale and
Totally.
procedural and endless than I'm looking for. Like I want like a TIE fighter that tells a good tight story through those missions.
Lawrence
you know?
Holland worked on Alien Syndrome
Yeah.
for PSP and Wii.
Yeah, that was like the last project I remember
Yeah.
Totally Games being involved with.
Yeah, that's where the page ends.
Like I'm very much looking for that Wing Commander X-Wing TIE fighter style of like story driven.
right,
like
story
complex-
driven, but like
complex
not necessarily
mission
hugely
objectives.
long missions,
Yeah.
but and not necessarily huge open world of space,
Yeah.
but just like contained story.
Man, like you fucking remember the part of TIE Fighter in the middle where there's like an internal revolt going on in the Empire's like command structure.
And there's like a separate level up, like the separate tree that you start going up with like tan tattoos or whatever.
That's when you become like the Emperor's hand.
Yeah.
And you're getting your Sith tattoo or whatever. But like they would do shit in the middle of missions where you would like be on some random escort mission or whatever, and then you would find out that a coup is being launched against the Emperor, and you would like scan a shuttle and find out that like some hugely important character is secretly aboard that shuttle. And like like drama in the middle of the missions, like
Yeah.
that stuff was amazing.
It was really well done.
I really wish that games like that were still being made. So I hope that's what that is. All
There
right,
was that new Homeworld. Homeworld came out. Was that?
Rogue,
was that
bring
just
back
like,
Rogue Squadron.
or was that just a reboot of the initial game? I forget what it was. No, don't bring back Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron was
That's
alright.
fine. No, you're right.
it's fine. It's just a very different thing.
Yeah.
That's just a pure action game.
That was. I'm not going to say it's the first game, but I remember that being a big game where I was like, where there was like people going fucking nuts for those games, and I was just like, whatever, man. This is like super dumbed down console shit, like
Like,
compared to
I-
what these Star Wars games
See,
were
that's
before.
the thing. I was
I
going
don't-
super nuts for that game because I only had
Yeah,
an
no,
N64.
totally, of
Like
course.
I don't
yeah.
I don't want to be condescending, although it's probably
it was very
it's
much
probably
an age
unavoidable.
thing
but
for me. It was
it
just
is-
like it was the first time where one of the early times where I was like, I've been playing games for a while.
Like,
and
it
that's
is-
given me a perspective on this
it is 100%
that is
the
unfair.
it is 100% the GoldenEye to Quake thing
Totally.
of like this is a simplified version of the genre on consoles, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But check this shit out.
Those games do look really good.
Yeah, they look
for that
fantastic.
hardware.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a shame because like looking at them, like, I bet these are fun, but I never had a good time with them.
I just remember the first time I got to fly a Y-wing.
I
Yeah.
did have a good time with them. Like they're fun. They're just
Yeah.
like they're more arcade style.
I just never.
You're not shunting power from your engines. To
Let me
beef,
tell you
to
about
beef up your
flying a
shields.
Y-wing. Fly B-wings later if you buy the expansion.
Man, remember
We
this?
flew some B-wings up at PAX.
No, so it's
All right, let's read emails, please.
disgusting.
Bombcast, giantbomb.com.
Our waitress told us to avoid the milkshakes, and
Yeah.
and she was right.
We were all
girl.
going to get
Atta
Captain
girl.
Crunch milkshakes,
Oh,
and
that
she was
sounds
just
good.
like, oh, it's good for the first couple
That
sips.
sounds disgusting because
And
it's
so
just
we
gonna
got-
get soggy.
It was
super
crunch berry. It was
fast.
like super granular. It was more
Yeah.
of a flavor
Okay.
thing and
We
less.
got one for the table, and she was right.
Really?
Boy.
I've
Okay.
had
It
those
just tasted
before.
like the milk that you get at the end.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. It's just
It
like
barely even
great.
tasted like that by the end. It was
Huh.
it was a little rough.
same waitress, same
Both
table,
times.
Ooh,
2 times in the weekend.
That's
Definitely recognized us.
that's rough.
I'm glad that we made it out of town without only going to there twice.
Yeah.
Because of what
Wow.
happened last time we were there. It was way more. It was a bad time.
All right, Alex.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah,
It's a bad time.
Mhm. Alex in Bendigo, Australia, which sounds like a haunted place.
Australia, you mean?
Yeah, Bendigo.
Hmm.
He writes in about the problem with Raichu.
Do tell.
Please.
After this week's Bombcast, I thought I'd let you in on some of my personal insanity. Raichu sucks.
Yes.
Let me explain why.
Like from a
No
yes.
explanation
Yeah,
needed.
I know about this.
Raichu is a third form where it should be a second. Squirtle,
That's true.
Charmander, Bulbasaur, all first forms, all the same size and general cuteness of Pikachu, all evolve into a creature larger and somewhat less cute and a little more tough looking, as Pikachu does into Raichu. The problem, though, is all those other Pokemon evolve again after that, whereas Raichu is the end of the shitty rat-faced line. In another universe, there's a giant electric mouse Pokemon that comes after Raichu. It's a gargantuan beast covered in lightning bolts or some shit, and it's amazing.
This isn't what I thought he was going to talk about. Also,
No.
Raichu is a third evolution. It's Pikachu, Raichu.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah. He says it's the third, but
but it should be-
but he wishes it was the second, so there could be an even tougher.
I don't know.
Oh,
that
I
doesn't
see.
line up with me. He's
I mean,
not a
it
starter.
feels like the
He's not a traditional starter Pokemon,
right.
so I think those rules don't apply to him.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to talk about the fact that Raichu scales, like in terms of actual like stats, is worse at scaling than Pikachu. Like
Yeah.
Pikachu's agility scales better than Raichu or whatever.
Like it's an evolution you want to avoid when
Yeah.
it starts to happen for sure. But like Pichu,
Is useless, but adorable.
right? Like Pichu seems like marketing swooped down and said,
Yes.
"Yo, can you get us a baby Pikachu? Because we can probably make some motherfucking money on that."
No joke.
And then they were like, let's make 2 more baby Pikachus.
Hell
Let's
yeah!
get Plusle and Minnow in this.
All right.
What
Yeah.
yeah.
was Pichu in the original like 150?
No,
No.
No.
The
Second
fuck?
gen.
They just made that. Whoa.
Hey, they just made all that shit up.
I know.
No, man.
No, the original.
Pikachu
It's
was
still real to
invented.
me.
I don't know why I fell down this hole during PAX when we had some downtime, but I listened to like a lot of conspiracy theories about Pokemon, and I feel like a worse human being
Like-
for it.
True crime
Well,
podcast.
What's
but
the
for,
best conspiracy theory you heard?
That Mr. Fuji made Mewtwo.
Mr.
Yeah.
Fuji, the wrestling manager.
Sure, yeah,
Squirtle is
The Poke
squirting.
Flute guy.
Squirtle is
Oh.
squirting mind control chemicals into the air.
that too. That's why he wears
Turning
sunglasses.
all the Squirtles gay.
Yes.
Oh, back to
Fluoride
Spider-Man.
attack.
One thing I really think that deserves shouting out is that they turned J. Jonah Jameson into like an Alex
Yes.
Jones
Yeah.
type,
Oh, good.
like
Yeah,
just
he's
screaming about
he's a-
Spider-Man.
he's
He got fired from the Bugle, and so he's on his like pilot podcast radio thing, just screaming about
Conspiracy
Spider-Man.
theories, yeah.
And people call it and be like, "Dude, what the fuck are you talking
And
about?"
then he cuts people's mics when they disagree with him.
yeah.
Nice.
the prompt on that is really good too, because there's like the first one pops up, and then when the second one pops up, there's a little prompt that says, if you want to unsubscribe from J. Jonah Jameson's podcast, it's in the settings menu.
They immediately let you turn them off.
But they refer to it as unsubscribe from his podcast.
I think Spider-Man even said something like, "Oh, I'm going to check in on what." Like it's him actually listening to it. I thought that was a very neat way to handle his character.
What do you guys think about the fake Twitter in that game?
I've never looked at it.
Really, I pull it up once in a while. It integrates with the story, like, and the side missions you're doing. Like you'll see tweets.
I should maybe go back into it
from people who were involved in even like just the little side. Like every time you stop a crime,
or every time you change costumes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like,
see,
they
comment on that.
Cool.
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It seems wholly unnecessary. It also, I wonder if it was something that they like surfaced a little more like regularly in game or something, and then later on we're like, actually, the work's done, so we'll keep it in, but we're not going to make it pop up.
It is kind of buried. You do have to kind of go looking for it a little bit.
Maybe at some point they were like, oh wait, everyone fucking hates social media now. Maybe don't surface
For me,
this.
the problem was like the text was just too small, and I was just like,
well, you can blow it up. That's how you get to it.
You expand.
Yeah, you can.
There's a whole
kind of zoom in on
it's
it.
still not
in the menus.
It's not vital enough. It's
Spider-Man's Twitter handle is NYC Wallcrawler. Just in case you were wondering.
Okay.
All right, next email. Dear Bombcast, Brad Muir. Thanks. Shifty from Kansas City.
Thanks for what?
Yeah. I'm pro Brad Muir.
Yeah.
I did not see Brad at PAX.
Anybody?
He DM'd me.
Yeah.
Said, come check out Artifact a couple hours after I'd played it.
He excitedly DM'd me Saturday morning about it, and I felt terrible by telling him I wasn't at PAX.
Yeah. No, I wish I did.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
I wish I saw Brad Muir every day. If I could set that up, that'd be great.
Hell yeah.
We'll get a Skype thing going.
We're going to go work at Valve.
I don't think I've ever met him.
He is
IRL.
so happy. Oh my God.
Yeah, hell of a guy.
It's infectious.
Chris from South Dakota. Watching the latest gameplay video for Cyberpunk 2077, I started to wonder what sets this game apart from the most recent Deus Ex games. They sure seem similar at face value. RPG mechanics, biomods, future tech, etc.
Yeah.
Is it the promise of more immersion? CD Projekt Red's track record?
Combat.
Is Cyberpunk the proper Deus Ex sequel fever dream we all hoped for, or are they just in totally separate leagues?
I think it's the Deus Ex fiction brings to it a specific tone that Cyberpunk will, by design be divorced. It's not a part of that same universe. I think Deus Ex's vision of that future, a lot of it just comes down to like their combat mechanics and all that sort of stuff. Like that last Deus Ex that tried to be a little more open world or like walking around a city and doing all that sort of stuff. I guess they all have that to an extent, but I feel like that last one really leaned on it in a way that didn't always benefit the game.
It feels like the Deus Ex stuff feels like it's like, okay, we know our setting, but why is it happening? Rather than Cyberpunk, I get the impression that it's like, this is a celebration of Cyberpunk. We want to create a Cyberpunk world, and we're going to fit in as many different facets of it as we can from fiction. Whereas I feel like Deus Ex is just one vertical of the shitty Cyberpunk future.
Yeah,
it's just like the military aspect of it, which I'm sure Cyberpunk will touch on. But Cyberpunk also seems like it's going to have some fun with it.
Yeah, coming out of that demo at E3, the thing that I was excited about was that it feels so archetypal.
Yeah.
Like this is Cyberpunk, the milieu, not just the brand made by Mike Pondsmith or whatever. It's like this is everything that you think of as part of that.
Sure.
Aesthetic
and Deus Ex
in one package.
Feels, one way more limited.
This is our cyber apartheid, and it's
that was just that last one, really. But
that's how self-serious I feel like it is in a lot of regards. Which I'm not saying Cyberpunk's not going to be serious, but it shows the kind of like you were saying, the milieu, the everyday life of Cyberpunk in this world.
And my hope is that Cyberpunk has more depth to it. I think. If I had to look back on, and I'm really only talking about those last two Deus Ex games, they're relatively shallow.
Yes.
There are a lot of things you can do in them, but a lot of them end up leading to the same place. It becomes that situation of just how are you going to get in this building? Shoot your way in or go through the vent? Or maybe
pick
talk
up a
to
really
someone.
big box.
I mean, Cyberpunk appears to have that exact same framework.
And that's a lot of games do that. So my hope is that Cyberpunk has more than that. Or more options or more meaningful choices.
The places that seem the most promising in that context in that demo are where you can maybe break is not the right word. I was going to say break mission objectives because you can make choices at specific mission beats or you can choose to skip those mission beats. You know, there's like,
Oh, right.
like you go meet up with the corporate lady,
Mhm.
but then later on they say, hey, you could have skipped that meeting entirely and it would have changed how the whole mission plays out. You know, like,
and that's cool.
less like points of entry into buildings and more changing story beats and changing like
Right.
Yeah.
quest design type stuff. That's more exciting to me. This one's anonymous. I wanted to let you know that an email went out at NASA this week stating that gaming-related websites would be blocked from their networks starting in September. In the email, they specifically mentioned IGN, Kotaku, and GameSpot, but not Giant Bomb. This is an outrage. How do you feel about NASA disrespecting you by leaving you off their list of notable gaming websites?
No, they're allowing you to visit our website.
That's right.
They're okay.
Good.
But
Yeah.
this one's good though.
This one's the good one.
This one's fine.
I'm also sure our website's probably blocked already because of the name.
It's
Hmm.
possible.
Hmm.
I mean, isn't a rocket just kind of a controlled bomb, though? I mean, who,
Yeah.
I mean,
who, are
yeah.
who are we fooling here?
They might need to know how to build one of those someday.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's right.
Pretty
We're-
hot. We SEO pretty well for.
Yep.
Trey from Georgia.
Also, we have a series of videos of expert space travel.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
So-
So,
That's
if they
true.
need to know a thing or two about space,
Yep.
Yeah.
we figured all that shit out.
Trey from Georgia. Just want to say in response to an email last week that Punch-Out is a Souls game. You fight a slew
Fuck
of,
off.
You fight a slew of bosses, many times larger and stronger than you, using pattern recognition and dodging and parrying. It's brutal and seemingly unfair at times, and when
There's
you
no
lose,
There's no
Parrying and-
parrying.
eh,
There's no parrying.
There's no
yeah,
parrying.
I guess. Well,
There's no parrying.
there
There's
are
no block.
there are some things that you don't you have to block certain things to create openings, or is it always a dodge?
No, it's blocks don't.
You block
create-
in the only time you block is against Tiger, right?
Great Tiger. Yeah, you have to block him enough times to where he.
But that's
finally
not a
opens up.
parry.
Eh,
It's
it's
not
not
a
quite
parry.
the same. All right, fine.
Blocking until he's tired.
I'll stop reading the emails. Here's another one from Nick. I started playing Overwatch again, and I've been listening to D&D podcasts.
No.
Lucio heals and buffs people with music. I used to think his whole thing was unique, but is he actually just a bard-ass bard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bard from if bards existed in the Jet Set universe.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, this is not a dig at Blizzard. He rollerblades and has a dubstep gun. That's very cool.
Yeah, bards.
Rollerblading's very cool. Everyone agrees.
Bards typically don't wall ride, as far as I know in D&D.
They should though. I mean, there's nothing that's stopping them.
That's true.
It seems like you
Probably
could
a spell.
probably like
a low level
a
spell
dexterity
too,
check
like
or something.
Not even a
can-
cantrip.
fucking play the lute and then you're just doing it.
You can dual class on that nowadays.
Yeah.
Totally.
A rollerblader, lutist.
Mhm.
Okay.
Lucio's cool.
Jack from Quebec City. On last week's show, Jeff went to bat for Yuzo Koshira's musical talents during the discussion surrounding the reveal of Streets of Rage 4. Brad then looked into Koshiro's body of work, mentioning a few key entries as the conversation at large steered elsewhere. Unfortunately, Koshiro's contributions to a Japan-only PS1 and Sega Saturn remake of Zork,
Weird.
titled Zork 1: The Great Underground Empire, went unmentioned. I just wanted to highlight an
weird.
interesting and otherwise mostly unsung corner of a decorated composer's long list of incredible soundtracks. Here's hoping that Mr. Koshiro keeps contributing everywhere he possibly can.
And that Sonic the Hedgehog stuff you were talking about last week also,
Yeah.
it was just the Game Gear versions.
Yeah, I don't know if I
So,
misread that
yeah.
Wikipedia chart or
No.
whatever, but I want to go hear his Zork music now. That's extremely strange.
Yeah.
Music in a text adventure.
yeah.
I think that is the canonical title of Zork 1.
Well, what is that PS1 and Saturn game? That probably is more like Return to Zork, right?
Oh, I don't know. I think that might be a Japan only, like literally text adventure
Wait,
game.
they made a text adventure for PlayStation and Saturn?
That seems like
We
the
should-
sort of thing that would only come out in Japan.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe they had more access to console keyboards over there or something weird like that.
I want
I'm
to play
gonna
that.
search it and check.
need to-
but
Get that.
Lori writes in with what she describes as an important morphological question.
great.
Is coffee a soup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's music from Zork. I was looking for
Wait, which Zork?
from
that's the
Saturn
one?
Zork. Yeah.
Coffee's a broth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like a bean broth, right?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't call broths soups. I think you need at least one other thing in there. Like chicken
Yeah.
broth is chicken broth. It's not
yeah,
chicken soup.
sure.
Right.
I feel like there's not enough time with. Well, okay, French press coffee is coffee soup. Pour over, it's not soup.
Go on.
Because to get a proper soup or broth, you need to like boil the bones or the meat or vegetables
that's
for
true.
quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
You're not steeping. Cold brew is coffee soup. There we
Okay.
go.
All right.
Because cold brew you have to let sit for like at
Interesting.
least 10 hours.
Nice,
So
nice cold
tea
soup.
is also broth.
You're saying there's not enough ligament in pour over coffee?
Yes.
Not enough tendon in there?
Not enough.
Okay.
It looks like there are graphics in Zork for the Saturn.
Okay.
If you put whipped cream on it, it's a soup.
I feel like I've played this at some point, but I sure can't remember.
What?
That's like a dessert soup.
Does that mean
Yeah, hell yeah. I
yeah,
need
does
a
that-
dessert soup.
does that mean a pumpkin spice latte is like a coffee bisque?
Yeah. Chocolate mousse is a stew.
All right.
I'm not sure if it's lunchtime or not.
Why am I not being applauded for my brilliant decisions?
Okay.
I'm just over here looking up Zork information.
You know those like dessert cups, and it was like dirty worms, and it's like Oreo crumbs and
Oh,
gummy
yeah.
worms and pudding and with
No,
whipped cream.
No, don't.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's a stew. That's a stew.
What?
It's you eat it with a spoon.
I think
and
things
it's
don't
in a
things have
cup.
to stew in something
Yeah.
to be a stew.
That's just a layered dessert. Like it's not a. No. Stop.
Is ice cream?
Tiramisu is a stew.
No.
No, it's not.
No, it's a sandwich.
Stop it.
Oh, you're right. Actually, it's a sandwich.
Genre dicks.
Food genres. My favorite. All right. I'm just going to read through these emails real fast we got from developers about stealing assets and so forth
So please stop doing it. To which I say no, I will not.
before we get out of here. They're all anonymous, not surprisingly. Last week you were talking about developers hiding their assets behind the ceiling tiles. Let me tell you about the time we accidentally hid away all of our assets on our players' computers. This was back when I worked for Cryptic Studios, and our shipping game was City of Heroes.
Oh my God.
We were a small studio, so we usually rolled our own solutions: custom game engine, custom source control, and custom patcher. One day we misconfigured that patcher such that it actually sent out all of the game assets, including the original 3D Studio Max files and the source code. We noticed fairly quickly when players started complaining about the massive patch size and quickly pulled the patch. In less than an hour, we had a new fixed patch that would also delete the assets accidentally installed, but also let us know if that had worked or not.
Hey, what's in that new patch?
Everything.
Everything? Like
Oh, nothing.
all of it.
I don't know. I'm too busy working on my new superhero MMO over here.
Yeah.
I'm compiling it right now.
Busy
Get back to
compiling
you.
my resume also.
Because
Sending
the
that out in the next patch.
because the erroneous patch was an unscheduled minor patch released at midnight, it turns out only a few thousand players actually downloaded any part of it. And after our updated patch went out, we only found one person where the files had not been deleted. Apparently, they figured out what we had done and moved everything to a safe place where we could not clean it up. That individual got a call that night from our CEO, who basically tried to bribe him into deleting everything with swag and a free subscription, alongside the sinister undertone of not wanting the lawyers to get involved. This actually seemed to work, and
Man.
they agreed to delete it. Delete code never made it to the public, but I always wondered if that guy has a secret backup somewhere of all our stuff.
Probably. If he's savvy enough to like realize what's happening and pull the plug.
I bet not. I bet at some point you're like, oh, I'm just gonna wipe it out. It's not worth it. Like
I
I
feel-
don't know what I'm gonna do with it anyway.
I feel
They're
like
gonna
if
give
they
me some
start to get
stuff.
serious about lawyer stuff,
He said the word lawyer on the phone. I should probably just delete it.
He probably did. Yeah, deleted it.
That sucks because you know what would be really fucking cool?
Another fucking City of Heroes.
City of Heroes custom servers, which
you're-
sort of exist, but I think it's only chat. Like there's no
Oh, really?
combat or anything.
let us know
there's
if
no
you're that one
gameplay.
guy.
Let us know
and
if you're that
you
one
didn't
guy.
delete your
I
shit.
felt like there was a pretty
We're not cops.
Your
diehard-
computer might get hacked, and whoops, all this stuff got really.
I think it was like a pretty diehard City of Heroes community back then. wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Totally.
I feel like I remember people.
I was part of it.
Yeah, some people like that game more than WoW. I feel like
They were great. The City of Heroes was awesome.
I never checked that stuff out.
It was
but,
cool as hell. City
Uh,
Villains. I was like, by that time, I think maybe I was a little less sold on it, but I remember being sad when that went under.
all right, a couple more.
And then Champions Online came around.
Yeah,
It was-
no, man,
It
no,
was not the same.
no,
at all.
thanks.
My first job out of school, also anonymous. My first job out of school was in Irvine, California, and it became clear pretty quickly that everyone knows at least one person from every game studio in Irvine. I went to a party at a coworker's friend's house who happened to work for Shiny Entertainment. I got to speaking with him about how I loved the old school Shiny games like Earthworm Jim and MDK. He replied with, "Do you want to see something?" and took me into his room and pulled a desktop PC out of his closet and hooked it up to a monitor. He explained that when Atari/Infogrames sold Shiny to Foundation 9, it became clear that the 2 PSP games they were working on at the time, Earthworm Jim PSP, and a fighting game called Age of Elements that they had just shown at E3, were going to be canceled. So he decided to clone his work drive that contained the current builds of both to take home, assuming they would be lost forever. Earthworm Jim seemed very early and had only one polished level that was a reimagining of New Junk City that they were using for pitches to publishers. Age of Elements was actually very playable with multiple fighters, and we got a few rounds in before rejoining the party. Side note, every employee of Shiny I have ever met hates Dave Perry.
All right.
Oh, man. Yeah, you hope that stuff is getting backed up, and I feel like all that stuff should just be
It belongs in a museum.
the public museum.
It's weird with
Let's
stuff
just
like
get it
that.
out there.
It's weird with stuff that's never been released because it's not like, I don't know.
It's way more
Like,
exciting.
well, I mean, but do those games count to preservationists because they were never officially released as
yes,
games?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Like maybe more than most. You know, the prototypes and like a lot of the prototypes and stuff.
Well, totally, but you typically see prototypes of games that eventually came out.
Right.
So like I kind of figured it's
But
like,
no,
you can see in
ones for
development
games
versions
that
of games
that never came out are far more
Yeah,
interesting because they
sure.
give you insight into like, oh, hey, this was abandoned because the platform was no longer a viable
Right.
entity, and that sort of stuff.
Right. Hopefully, I have not started a run on this person. I mean, not that we know who it is, but I wonder if that gets certain collectors out there feeling itchy to go track down this unreleased PSP fighting game.
I might give you an email address to forward to some of the people that have been writing in lately. I talked to someone at PAX briefly who was like, "Hey, not from a collector perspective, or from a hey, let's make sure this stuff is safe."
More of a museum,
Yeah.
kind of thing. All right, last one. I worked for the studio that created the MMO Lego universe. When did that come out?
Oh man, that was
2011?
Is it that new?
it seems old.
2010, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Shut
guess-
down in 2012.
Lego Dimensions was more recent, right? But that's
Yeah.
different. That's
That
twice,
was different.
twice to life. After the launch of the game, Lego bought our studio outright. 9 months later, due to slumping subscriptions, they closed the game and the studio. Our studio head was so mad that after breaking the news to the employees, he told everyone that they could take home, quote, whatever they wanted. They're not going to ship all this stuff back to Denmark. This created what I could only compare to the final 3 minutes of a Supermarket Sweep episode,
Shit.
with people grabbing everything they could get their hands on. Basically, everyone went home with their work computer that had all of the assets to the soon-to-be shut-down MMO.
Wow.
When Lego found out about this, they were unsurprisingly very enraged. They sent a letter to every employee saying that if you took Lego property home, you were voiding your employee contract and would forfeit your severance and face possible legal action. I was forced to sign a document stating I had not done this very thing. I had, still have it in fact.
Fantastic.
Fast forward a couple months, and a YouTuber has somehow managed to not only run his own copy of Lego Universe, complete with unreleased levels and assets.
Yeah.
Turns out an employee had handed over his work drive to this guy so he could get the game back online. Lego Legal sent the guy a cease and desist and threatened him with legal action unless he told them where he got it. Also, unsurprisingly, the YouTuber completely rolled over and ratted the employee out.
Yeah.
The employee was forced to ship back any and all Lego-related property he had or face 3 counts of theft. He did so, never got any charges brought against him. Lego was actually a really nice company. They obviously just wanted their shit back. But the moral of the story is don't give a company's IP you technically stole to a YouTuber.
Exactly. There are way smarter ways to get that stuff out there without your identity being compromised in the process.
Yeah.
If that dude does have the City of Heroes stuff, find a way to
Yeah.
get it into
Get
the
that stuff
right
out
people's
there.
hands.
I'm kind of surprised nobody ever just like reverse engineered that stuff.
Well,
Seriously.
without my understanding, and it's very limited when it comes to custom server type stuff, is that a lot of it requires you to be capturing packets from the game while the game is still running.
Okay, and if nobody
Because
did that
you need to
work-
know what the server is.
Yeah.
You know, if you just have the client,
Yeah.
you know, the client might not even have like missions in it,
Right.
you know, because that all might just get streamed off a server as needed.
So if nobody collected that data back in the day,
Right.
it's not possible
then
to
they
do
have
it now.
It's way more hacked together, you know, in terms of just like, well, we think the client would be looking for this type of thing from the server, so let's
Right.
send it that and see what happens. And
That's why
and-
WoW was so readily cloned, probably because it's still up and you can.
so
you
people
can
were
sniff
probably
all that
capturing
stuff.
and sniffing all
Yeah.
that stuff for a good long time.
Yeah.
Phantasy Star Online, like I think they may have had to have brute force a lot of it in a very different way. But,
1 or 2.
1.
Okay. Oh yeah, because 2 is still up.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
still running.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they had access to in that, but I don't think they ever got proper server software out of Sega. So they may have just cobbled it all together.
City of Heroes
I'm not
stuff
sure.
might still be out there. We'll never know. All right, that's it for emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Games are coming out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
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 Like Madden came and went this year, and I was like, oh, that came out of nowhere, but then nothing happened for
Yeah, it didn't seem like Madden signified the return of games
2-3
the way
weeks.
it used to.
yeah. Now we've the Spider-Man, Destiny expansion.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is next week.
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Got press events going on for games coming out next month.
All right.
Like stuff is happening.
Cool.
Stuff is happening.
Dragon Quest also out this week.
Yes, right. Yeah, right,
but
right. We talked about it last
Talked about
week.
that last week. But
I wish I could just stop all other video games
Yeah.
and play through that thing. I'm worried that I'm probably not going to get too much further into it.
Do it.
I
Fuck
I
other
want
video
to.
games.
Yeah.
just want you to just get the PC version and cheat engine it.
Maybe. Yeah. No, I would very much like to play that game, but also I'm going to play Destiny today.
No.
I am super excited.
No.
Yeah.
What are you doing to yourself?
It's new stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be good.
Dude, 20 levels.
20
You're
levels.
fucking gonna get 20
You can get
Ingrams.
100 levels in Dragon Quest.
That's a good point.
Do you get a fucking cosmetic Ingram every time you level? No.
You can get a cool cosmetic sword, a cosmetic slime.
Jeff, there's slimes in Dragon Quest.
I do like the slimes.
Whereas
There are
Destiny's
slimes that
just
I have not
slimy.
seen and fought yet. The enemies in that game are too cute. Combat feels bad because it's like, man, I'm killing this fun-loving crab.
Can I buy an emote where my character is eating neon popcorn out of the air? No.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
Can you buy any emotes? No.
I don't think so.
Bonus for Dragon
Yeah,
Quest.
it did come with a code in the day one edition packs that get you some kind of cosmetic shit. So even Dragon Quest is not fully immune.
Yeah, god damn it.
I believe no after show today.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Is that
no,
correct?
missing it this week.
Okay.
Honestly, my throat is scratched fucking raw from yelling at PAX.
Yeah, PAX will do that.
And such.
All right. Well, stay tuned for more of that later.
And then panel.
sorry, I had
PAX
to-
panel
Oh, yeah.
going up.
PAX
Yep.
panel.
Going up, should go up later today.
Great.
In fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Also,
Uh,
some fun mini golf stuff.
Oh,
too.
that's
Oh,
right.
yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw up a Ben's lens from PAX.
Oh,
Okay,
God, I was
cool.
so stressed out doing that.
And also, All Systems Goku returned to the site over
Yeah.
the weekend. New episodes of that coming in,
Y'all did History of
in
Trunks.
a couple of weeks. Yeah, History Trunks.
I
Oh,
forgot
I
how
gotta listen
bad
to
that
that.
was.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
So it's like special investigative report or something.
yeah. It's a special episode.
Turns out Trunks cool.
Trunks cool, but History Trunks doesn't necessarily. Well, whatever.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
you should listen to
I
the
should
episode.
listen to
Tune
the
in.
episode. I should watch and listen.
There is a movie that describes how he got the thing that
I
he
heard.
uses. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the missing. That's what I really want.
Kind of behind the power investigative documentary series.
Exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Also, I had to duck earlier because I had to help facilitate the delivery
Uh-oh.
of some very
Whoa.
large packages
Oh, whoa.
that are going to be here in about a week or two.
Oh wow,
Great.
that's
Stay tuned
mysterious.
for that.
Huh.
Tear a
That's
lot
gonna
of
be-
stuff. We're gonna tear a lot of stuff
That's
apart.
it's going to be a hell of an unboxing video.
Oh wow. Are we gonna do
It might
that?
have to be an
Yeah, we're-
unboxing live stream,
It could take some time.
It's gonna
an
be.
unstudioing live stream.
Oh
What are
my
we gonna do with all
God.
these couches now?
I don't fucking know.
Fuck them up.
I asked in Alaska
Now
if
I'm in.
we could rent a chainsaw.
Mm.
Unless somebody owns a chainsaw.
I don't
here.
want to.
I have access to it.
I don't want to
Oh.
cut up the old.
Oh,
couch.
God,
We have
yeah,
to.
man.
We have
You probably
destroy
have
it.
access
Not
to
the
all kinds
original
of stuff.
couch.
Oh,
The
yeah.
original
No,
couch
original
stays,
couch
but
is fine, but that
That
IKEA
black
the
one.
one.
black- yeah.
The IKEA one.
I need catharsis.
Maybe we just jump up and down on it until it's destroyed. Or
Uh,
maybe we just throw
we're
it out by
gonna
the
plan
desks
some
and-
things.
Okay, we'll
I think
figure
you take
something
one step on that thing and it's
I could
in
ask some
pieces.
people if we could blow it up.
All right.
Where would we do this? Is there like a firing range somewhere we can go to?
Treasure Island kind of has like
There's no law there.
Yeah, you could do anything over
It's
there.
international waters. I mean,
Like they won't let you live there if you've ever done drugs because it's
Yes.
technically federal land.
Also,
but-
full of radiation.
Wow.
Well, yeah, whatever.
so is the couch, so it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could drop it from a crane probably if we wanted
Okay.
to. I could-
Onto
I
some
could-
spikes.
We need to have this conversation in
All
private.
right. Yeah, we'll figure it
Okay.
out.
All right. Stuff happening in the studio. That's cool. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for listening. Everybody go check out all that stuff hitting the site in the next few days. We'll have videos for Dragon Quest and Spider-Man and Destiny, some other coverage for those games.
Yeah.
In the works. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Go forth and enjoy some games, and we'll come back and talk about them.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Starbucks Double Shot. Starbucks Double Shot starts with bold Starbucks coffee and is blended with milk for a smooth, creamy, delicious flavor. It's enhanced with ginseng, guarana, and B vitamins. You're sharper when you've got more energy. Starbucks Double Shot. It's energy to do things you actually do. Find it in your local convenience store.